Hello, I'm Tom Feeney and welcome to Guiseley Radio, where today Mark Bauer sees himself take charge of the Lions for the third time. But today, he's the permanent manager and it promises to be a tough ask against top of the table Hednesford Town as they're travelling to Nevermore Park. Well, it's a 3 p.m. kick-off, and before 3 we will hear from Mark after he's been appointed manager, and we'll also have an interview from Colin. And we'll also be joined by the fine Nik Keefe, who'll be offering some words of wisdom.
Good afternoon, Tom, and it's a nice day, isn't it? We're getting a bit of warm weather late in the summer, early into the autumn. It's kind of perfect football weather, isn't it? 15, 16 degrees. It's a little bit of cloud, but it's nice and light, and everything you'd want for a good game of football on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, hopefully 3 points for the Lions as well.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So today we are talking about Guiseley, and of course on Tuesday the loss against Bradford Park Avenue. In terms of the result, I know it was a defeat, but there were so many positives, and it was such a result that Mark Bauer gets a contract at the end of it.
That's right. We were saying after the game that if you'd looked at the two Saturdays in a row where the last two home games in a row where they'd both been 2-0 defeats, the Brackley game and then Bradford Park Avenue, you'd think that it was much of a muchness, same again, but actually Tuesday was a completely different game, and we don't want to bang on about the referee, but it would have been an interesting game. It was home attack versus away defence trying to hold out, and it would have been such an interesting game to see that pan out over 90 minutes and see whether Guiseley would have made the breakthrough. As it is, they'll be hoping to carry on all of that good work that they started on Tuesday and put some points on the board with it. But as you say, they're here against the early pace setters, so it's certainly not a game you would expect to be a nailed-on 3 points. I was saying as I came into the ground, it would have almost been a nice game to play against someone a bit lower down the table, an opportunity to try and build some momentum, because ultimately, we'll say this as the afternoon goes on, if Guiseley weren't to get 3 points today, but they were to put in a good performance, that would be a success. But it's quite difficult because people are getting impatient and wanting to see a win now, aren't they?
Do you think it's the case then that the fans, at the moment, they are going to give Mark a bit of time and, applaud the fact that it was a fantastic performance on Tuesday, but do you feel now maybe a point today or maybe 3 would be needed rather than just a good performance?
Yeah, I agree. I think they want to kick on. There was a good performance in midweek, as you say, but there needs to be something added to that. We're still yet to see a goal. I think something like a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 draw, something like that today, would still constitute success, as long as there's a good performance that goes with it. Like you say, if we were to get beaten 3-0 today but go down fighting, that might not be enough for one or two people to be convinced. I do hope that Mark Bauer gets given the time. We're going to listen to an interview with him that I know you did earlier this afternoon soon, but I do think he speaks very well. He speaks very highly of his players and of the club. He speaks with some insight into the game as well, and it's obvious from the players he's brought in so far that he has genuine contacts in the game as well, especially in the local area. He's a well-known former Bradford man and has ties with Halifax from his playing days there too. So I think he's a good choice on paper, but I can understand why one or two people are saying because he's completely unproven. It's his first time doing a job like this. They're wondering whether the club should have gone for someone else. This next few games really is his chance to prove that he's got the metal to go with all of his good talk and all of his good contacts.
You've got to say, getting someone like Ben Parker in, a former Leeds United player, it's a bit of a masterstroke, isn't it, for Bauer?
Well, it's almost like the guys who've got nothing to lose, really. Ben Parker comes in not having played regular first-team football for a little while for various reasons, and he's been convinced to dip his toe back in at this level. He's never played anything like this far down the pyramid before. I think the lowest he'd gone was a few games in League Two, perhaps with Darlington or maybe Carlisle, I'm not sure. So this is the first time he's come down to this level. If he's fit and he's been training with the club for a while now and has shown that he's worthy of signing onto a deal, if he can do that, then he would be presumably one of the first names on the team sheet. So it's a bit of a no-lose situation, I think.
Well, speaking of Mark Bauer, as Nik said, I did speak to Mark about half an hour ago, and this is what he said about today's game and also gaining the management job permanently. Mark Bauer, you're the permanent manager now. How does that sound?
Yeah, it's a nice feeling and an honour to be be the manager, and I'm proud and grateful to the people that have given me the opportunity to do the job on a more long-term basis now. So this hard work starts, and we'll try and build on the performance that we put in on Tuesday night.
I was going to say, have you had a look at Hednesford, the top of the table? So they're going to be a good task.
Yeah, they've been promoted, so a team like that, they come up with confidence, and they've got the winning habit. So don't know too much about them. We've done a bit of ringing around to find out what their strengths and weaknesses are. So I'll know enough to pass on to the players, and I know the formation and a few other players. So we're as prepared as we can be. But with the week we've had, probably would have liked to have had a look at them myself. But that's not always possible. But yeah, we've got to concentrate on ourselves as well. The way we played on Tuesday night. If we can stamp our authority on the game, then we'll be all right.
Are you looking for the same level of performance from Tuesday for today?
Yeah, same commitment, effort, and quality on the ball. And if we can get a little bit of luck tonight and keep 11 men on the pitch, then we've every chance of winning the game. I don't think there's much to choose between teams in this league. We rose to the challenge of playing a good side on Tuesday night, and hopefully we'll do that again today.
Will there be any changes for today? Maybe Ben Parker starting? Or?
Well, yeah, we effectively lost 3 centre halves on Tuesday night. So the 2 injured ones, Danny and Matt Clark, won't be available. So we'll be making changes at the back. And we'll just make sure that once we get everyone in the dressing room, everyone's all right, and take it from there.
Thanks, Mark. Well, Mark Bauer there talking about Hednesford Town, and also about the fact that maybe they didn't want to face Hednesford this week. Like you said, maybe facing a team that may be on a bit of a low of confidence. But in terms of Hednesford, do you think they've caught a lot of people off guard?
Well, we said at the start of the season that we didn't expect the Conference North, the Skrill North, sorry, as it is now, we didn't expect it to be a walkover, a one-team league again this year. And what Mark said there is that there's a lot less to choose between the teams in this division. So it could be that they've started the season well. They're not one of the teams we'd expect to be there at the end of the season, but we've seen Telford losing in recent weeks. We know that North Ferriby and Harrogate and 1 or 2 other teams have spent good money on wages with the aim of getting into the playoffs. So I don't think there's as much between the teams, as he says, as maybe there was, and perhaps that top of the table thing is a little bit of an exaggeration of where Hednesford are really at. But it does obviously give the warning of a team coming here that has played very well so far, and that's what they've got to face today. And I thought it was interesting what he said, that he alluded to that they've had an awful lot going on behind the scenes that Mark has had to deal with. So he hasn't had a chance to have a look at these guys play yet. Because he's been dealing with signings coming in and getting himself settled into the post, and he's been trying to work out what players he's actually going to be able to choose from today. And we'll talk about the lineup as we get closer to kick-off, but he is missing a lot of experienced defenders, as we know, and he's going to be missing more players with suspensions shortly too. So I think he's right to be cautious, but he's also right to say, look, if Guiseley were to play as they did on Tuesday night, they would get something from this game today.
It surely gives Guiseley a bit of confidence, so that if they can gain 4 or 5 wins in a row, they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to take 98, 99 points to finish top of the table this season. I honestly don't think. So a good run of form for any of the teams around the middle of the table puts them in a really strong position. And so it wouldn't take long for Guiseley to come back from the shaky start that they've had to the season.
I know it's skipping on a week, but for Guiseley, it's the case. I know they're playing Bradford Park Avenue next week. They'll be thinking just about on Tuesday, maybe getting a bit of revenge.
Yeah, we said it would be interesting to have seen that game play out as it was shaping up to be on Tuesday night. And of course, we get the opportunity to see that. We get another whole 90 minutes of it. And Bradford Park Avenue will have been stung by the criticism of the watching fans and of their own manager on Tuesday night for how comprehensively they were outplayed, particularly in the second half. So they will come with a point to prove, and obviously Guiseley will come with a point to prove, having been the better team and having lost 2-0 on their own turf despite that.
Well, I think we'll go through the team news now. And for Guiseley, the starting 11 is Steve Drench in net, Jack Rea, captain for today, Rhys Maynell, Michael Potts, Spencer Harris, Ben Parker, who of course is making his debut today, Wayne Brooksby, Jake Lawler, Alex Johnson, Michael Burns, and Gavin Rothery. And on the bench, Jamil Iblay, Andy Holdsworth, Craig Hobson, Paul Ennis and John Worsnop. And, well, Nick, a few changes have been made then, a few new faces to the bench and also the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think the defence is interesting. Mike Bowers obviously wanted to see some experience in there, so he's playing Reece Maynell slightly out of position. I assume he'll be the left-sided of the two centre-backs, but it's still a very different role to playing at full-back for him to be playing. But Spencer Harris acquitted himself very well in midweek, so he was obviously worth the game, and with Jamil Iblay's suspension coming up after the red card in that game, perhaps he wants Harris in there to get him into the team, get him bedded in, because he's going to be playing a few games over the coming weeks. While of course we wait to see what the situation is with Danny Ellis and how serious that injury is too. I've seen him in the ground today and he looks like he's on crutches. So that's not obviously what a Guiseley fan is going to want to see. But Spencer Harris puts him in the driving seat at the moment, and case of seeing if he can build on his debut that was so strong on Tuesday night. As for the bench, which is where most of the other changes are, Paul Ennis comes in as a left-sided midfielder or winger, we think. That obviously means Zach Dale has to drop down out of the first team squad for today and sort of wait his turn again, because I know they rate Paul Ennis highly and they've been waiting to get him into the side, waiting for this clearance from the Welsh FA for an awfully long time, and I know he's itching to play. Interesting as well that Craig Hobson is the striker on the bench. No Phil Marsh and no Adam Priestley. So obviously Alex Johnson is the man in possession of the number 9 shirt now. He's obviously the one who's going to get the nod. But some of these other lads are going to have to get some goals if they want to force their way into the team as well.
Well, while we've been on air, we've been keeping Colin busy. He's been doing a few interviews about the new Action for Children campaign.
Right, I'm delighted to be joined now here ahead of the very exciting Action for Children Day at Guiseley AFC. And we've got Chairman Phil Rogerson, Carol Idden from Action for Children, and Sue O'Brien from the Conference Trust to just let us know a little bit about what's going on. Phil, first of all, what's behind the partnership at the very basics of it, about the ground and the opportunities that the club has?
Essentially, we're looking to expand our community programmes, and this gives us an opportunity to build community action programmes which will involve young people who are not in education or training, and give them meaningful qualifications and practical experience of work ethic.
Fantastic. So it actually, in this, the opportunity that we have here is to develop a partnership with Action for Children. Carol, you obviously are from Action for Children. Just tell us a little bit about what that partnership actually means in practice for you.
Well, Action for Children is one of the largest children's charities across the UK, and we look for lots of opportunities where we can work with community groups such as Guiseley and develop services that support young people into employment, training, education. The particular programmes that we look at developing are very bespoke to that local community, so they're out there to meet the needs of the local community and the young people within that. And our aim is to help young people achieve their potential, whatever that may be, and support from organisations like Guiseley help us achieve that mission.
Yeah, and incredibly important, isn't it, at this moment in time with some of the challenges that young people face.
Yeah, young people have a very difficult time in life, and it's made even more challenging in the current economic climate where jobs are at a premium, and if you haven't got the skills, then it's even more difficult to get into them. And the sorts of programmes that we would do with Guiseley would be to help young people develop the work ethic, to understand what it means to go to work, to get into the routine of getting up every morning, to learn new skills, to develop new skills, and to be able to describe themselves in a very different way to the way in which they perhaps have perceived themselves previously. And our experience is that those sorts of programmes really do an awful lot to develop self-confidence in young people. And a significant number of those young people go on to either go on to additional learning or further training, or even secure employment with local organisations who see what's happening within the local community, in which Guiseley will promote, I'm sure. And that then makes them think, well, actually we can do something to help the young people from our community as well. And so it's about bringing those communities together, really, and showing young people in a much more positive light than most people see them.
This is a very exciting opportunity then, isn't it, Phil, for Guiseley?
It's absolutely massive, and hopefully we can, work with the conference trust to roll this out further. And it's just an absolute massive opportunity for the club.
Well, Sue O'Brien, you're from the conference trust. This is a exciting and interesting partnership that's evolved that hopefully could be replicable elsewhere.
Yes, that's true. The Football Conference Trust, principally, we give grant aid to member clubs in order to help grow and develop their community programmes. And we've been in existence now for 3 years, funded by the Premier League and the PFA, who give us a very generous amount of money. But growing community programmes is not just about giving out funds, it's also about encouraging clubs to certain partnerships and to think in particular ways. So we started talking to Action for Children earlier this year, and we've got them linked now with 4 clubs in the north. Guiseley's the first one to have got their project to a point where it's able to be launched, but we're hoping that there'll be other clubs who'll be joining soon with similar locally based programmes which will fit in with their community needs.
Well, that's fantastic and a really exciting day. Phil, Carol, Sue, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, Colin Richardson there. And Guiseley's a community club, and this is, Nick, another fine example of Guiseley. Well, another community project and another worthwhile project.
Yeah, it's difficult because you get people like me that who kind of volunteer a little bit behind the scenes. We get wind of things that are going on, and we're not really allowed to discuss them until they become official. But I've been saying to people for a while, there's really exciting stuff in the offing here, and having a chat to Phil Richardson on Tuesday night, as I did, about what this involved, just as a point of interest, because I wanted to know what it meant more than just the names going on the shirts. And some of the possibilities for children's services in this area. So people who know me know I'm a teacher, so I'm very very invested in some of the ideas here. Some of the stuff that they're looking at offering to young people, and things that will also genuinely benefit the club, helping with some of the changes that want to be made around the ground, getting groups of lads in, getting trained with vocational, usable skills in the process of working on a real construction project or a community development project. I think that's fantastic, and it's exactly the sort of thing a club like Guiseley wants to be involved in, because we say it's a family-friendly and a family-run club, and it is still. And so while we're worrying about everything that happens on the pitch, and that obviously we do want all of that to fall back into place as soon as possible, but it's worth remembering that there's people wanting to do really worthwhile stuff in our area, and the football club gives them a great platform to make that happen.
It's also great to see that Guiseley are the first non-league club to be involved in this.
Yeah, it shows how willing that Phil and the guys have been to get involved in something brand new that's not been tried before. And I know there's 3 other clubs, I forget the names now, he did tell me, that would be the next ones to try something like this. So with a pilot project, and so I'm sure there'll be some things that go really well. There's some things where we can offer some other clubs advice on how to make a partnership like this work. But it's nice to be the first in on such a good project, isn't it, I think?
Well, let's get back to the match today then. Matters on the pitch. Just what kind of game do you think today will be?
I think it'll be an attacking game. Hednesford have come here with a good record, knowing that they're playing well and scoring goals. So I don't think they will come and put 11 men behind the ball and try and see this out for a 0-0 draw. There's certainly nothing in Guiseley's recent record that suggests they will need to do that. But of course, we have the secret weapon of knowing how well Guiseley played in midweek. So they will be going all out to impress the fans again. Mark Bauer's still to see his first goal in charge, and I'm sure he'll be itching for that to come tonight. We've got Alex Johnson, the lone striker signing, who will be desperate to get off the mark as well. He'll feel he's got something to prove coming here to play first team football, because maybe he wasn't getting enough time on the pitch at Halifax at the start of the season, the division up. So I think there's every reason to expect we'll see that and our inexperienced defence. There's every reason to think we'll see some goals today, Tom.
What's your score prediction then?
Oh gosh, I've no idea. 15 minutes in, I'll have a better idea. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw. I said before, a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw with a good performance would be a successful day out for Guiseley today. I've got a sneaking feeling they will win, But I somehow doubt, just with the defence as it is, playing together like that for the first time, I somehow don't expect us to keep a clean sheet. So maybe 2-1, something like that.
Well, as the teams are just getting ready to get onto the field, I will just quickly go through the Guiseley lineup again. The starting 11 is in net Steve Drench, the then 10 outfield players are Jack Rea, captain Rhys Maynell, Michael Potts, Spencer Harris, Ben Parker, Wayne Brooksby, Jake Lawler, Alex Johnson, Michael Burns, Gavin Rothery, and then on the bench, the 5 substitutes are Jamil Iblay, Andy Holdsworth, Craig Hobson, Paul Ennis, and John Worsnop. Well, I'll be handing over to Nik Keefe, but first of all, it's Colin Robertson.
Thank you, Tom. It's a fantastic afternoon here at Guiseley, and we've been really enjoying hearing all about the Action for Children partnership. But of course, now the football's about to get underway. There's still a few minutes as the two teams come lining up inside the dugout at the moment. And this afternoon, I think, will be a key match for the Lions as they look to bounce back. Some very interesting changes in the team lineup. But just before the two teams come out, I'm delighted to say that they are going to receive another fantastic Guard of Honour. This time, it's from the Guiseley Juniors under-8 squads. They're going to provide the today's Guard of Honour. So it's the under-8s orange and yellow squads who are lining up either side of the tunnel. And indeed, one of the under-8s orange players is Finley Robb, and he's celebrating his 8th birthday today. So he's going to be the Guiseley team mascot for the afternoon. So we hope that Finley really enjoys his day. Apparently his favourite player is Lionel Messi. I've heard that Gavin Rothery was absolutely gutted not to have been selected by Finley this afternoon, so hopefully he can get over that disappointment. Nick, we are looking forward to a big game this afternoon, aren't we?
Yeah, we're not expecting Lionel Messi as such, but the football was a lot better on Tuesday, wasn't it, as we've been saying. So there's every reason to expect an interesting game today. We were just saying to Tom just now, Hednesford have got no reason to come here and be afraid. They've got no reason to put 11 behind the ball because they've had such a fantastic start to the season themselves. So hopefully we'll see some good attacking football today. Yeah,
of course, Hednesford are a real test, aren't they, for the Lions? The two teams just coming out now, as you can probably hear. Top of the table, and have come out of the traps brilliantly this season, as so often happens with a newly promoted side. They have really been at the very top from the off this season, and are right up there alongside Altrincham. So we can expect a very stern afternoon. Let's just go down the team lineups again, just before we get to kick-off. Just start with our opponents. In goal, Dan Crane, John Disney, Darren Campion, who is the captain, Ben Bailey, Matt Regan, Dave McPherson, Jamie Osborne, Elliot Durrell, Neil Harvey, Aaron Ray, and Chris Taylor. On the bench is Nathan Wolfe, Alex Melbourne, Francino Francis, Robbie Thompson-Brown, and Charlie Nago and Mark. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, so you'll have to excuse me if you're tuning in from a Hednesford perspective. For Guiseley, it is a Stephen Drench, Jack Rea, Rhys Maynell, Michael Potts, Spencer Harris, Ben Parker, Wayne Brooksby, Jake Lawler, Alex Johnson, Michael Burns, and Gavin Rothery. And then on the bench today, Jamil Iblay, Andy Holdsworth, Craig Hobson, Paul Ennis, and John Worsnop. And I know you've been talking about this lineup in the build-up, Nick, but obviously a big afternoon to see Ben Parker start.
Yeah, just having a look at the team sheet now, he's down on our sheet as playing in number 6 today. I was sniffing around the match day office a little bit beforehand. The suggestion was that it would be Rhys Maynell who would be asked to play at centre back. But judging by the shirt numbers, it looks like Rhys Maynell would be playing at left back and Ben Parker would be playing in midfield, which from reading around about him last night, I think he has done that a bit in his time, not maybe at the top level with Leeds and with Bradford City, but certainly he played there as a youngster. So we'll just wait and see how that pans out. Rhys Maynell is definitely wearing the captain's armband again today, and he is one of the most experienced players in the Guiseley lineup, so maybe they want to keep him in a position he's comfortable with. I don't know. We'll have a look at that.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes you get a lucky number and that sticks with you, and it can change the number and positioning. We saw that, I think, with Workington, didn't we? Where they're just quite happy to change the numbers so that they don't relate to the starting 11 positions.
Yeah, or was it Gloucester maybe that there was a number 5 playing at left back and it was all over the place. I can't remember, but it's I would have never known before starting commentating just how much that can throw you sitting up here. But
You wait till we get to squad numbers.
oh yeah. Well, we'll have names then, won't we? We'll have easily legible names.
You
and
can't
nice
read
big
them.
letters. No, exactly. Actually, looking at it, it does look like Ben Parker's the leftmost of the players at the moment, but we'll just give Reece Maynell a chance to jog back and see where he's going to actually line up.
If I was to make a call, I would actually say the way they're sort of lining up. Yeah, it is as you say, Parker and then Maynell in centre half. It's just a swap of the shirts rather than anything more formation-wise specific. So the referee, who has just gone through the various pre-match routines that he has to do, has now got the two sets of sides lined up. Guiseley, of course, are playing in their away kit today as part of that Action for Children partnership. They have got the logo of the charity on their shirts, and so it's a great opportunity to really promote them and perhaps promote them on the field and get things off as we start away. And Michael Burns goes through from the off, but just caught offside, and I actually think that was very, very tight, if at all.
I think the linesman is probably given that because it's 10 seconds into the game and he just doesn't believe the opportunity can open up. I thought Michael Burns was onside there. The keeper saved it anyway, but certainly a statement of intent from Guiseley, isn't it, from the kick-off?
Yeah, 27 seconds gone. First offside. Burns almost broke the deadlock there for a second. Referee today is Graham Fivey, and he'll be assisted by Dan Craig and Ian Quinn. Now it's Hednesford who come on the attack with Neil Harvey down the left flank as Hednesford attack the Bowling Green end of the ground that Guiseley defend. Hednesford in all red, playing Guiseley in all yellow. They've got a throw-in about level with the edge of the 18-yard box on the left-hand side. Launched into the area, up towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Good firm header from Jake Lawler, picked up by Dave McPherson. And to say it's an unconventional lob back into the area, to say the least. Not what he intended at all. And comfortably in the hands of Stephen Drench. Forward, up towards Gavin Rothery. Jake Lawler sprays the ball out left here to Parker. Parker gets on the ball and goes up towards the edge of the centre circle, and then checks his run and goes back. Now here with Brooksby. Brooksby out to Parker. Parker down the left flank, moves it down here to Burns. Intent now from Guiseley. Rothery keeps the movement going, goes down towards the touchline, tries to get it across towards Brooksby, but 3 red shirts around him, couldn't find his way through, and it's gone out of play for a throw-in.
Bright start by Guiseley, and Ben Parker already getting involved.
Parker with a throw to Burns. Burns robbed, but tries to win it back. The second attempt, Lawler tidies things up. Helped on by Reece Maynell into the penalty area. Johnson looking for it. Had such a good game on Tuesday night and has earned his side a corner just through his presence, forcing the Hednesford player into the mistake.
Well, it would really relieve some nerves, wouldn't it, if Guiseley were able to come out and get an early goal straight away from the first corner of the game.
Yeah, and Guiseley now looking to attack with intent. Brooksby with the corner into the penalty area. Headed away by the captain, Campion. He gets the ball eventually up to the halfway line. Harvey goes looking for it, but Parker's there, tidying things up, and helps the ball back to Stephen Drench. Under pressure, does well to help it out to Parker on this touchline once again. Parker gets the ball back from Rothery. Parker keeps moving forward. Rothery down on the ground at the moment, but Parker really well to keep the ball flowing into the Hednesford half. Rothery's up on his feet. Guiseley still have possession. Potts 1-2 with Brooksby. Brooksby and Potts combine again. Brooksby some distance from goal. Tries to help it through. He's brought down from a late tackle, and Guiseley have started this game very positively and have a free kick.
Yeah, as we're used to seeing from Wayne Brooksby now. A little bit too quick for the defender there, and he'd moved the ball on and skipped past him and just drew the foul. It'd be interesting to keep an eye on how the referee handles it today, because obviously on Tuesday night we saw an awful lot of free kicks being given away within 10 yards of the penalty area as Guiseley were on the attack. But that wasn't really, the referee wasn't really keen to stop that from happening, and that's why it got a little bit tetchy as the game went on. So
the referee's just had a word. No card this time, but Guiseley have a free kick about 10 yards from the edge of the D, fairly central. Burns, Brooksby and Rothery all standing over the ball. Hednesford have a 4-man wall on the edge of the 18-yard box. Rothery flicks it onto Burns. Burns rather has to lay it wide to Parker. Parker gets a firm shot, takes a deflection, and easily cleared. Not the greatest free kick from a Guiseley perspective. Won again by Potts on the edge of the area, but then launched clear all the way back to Stephen Drench. Takes it down phenomenally well on his right foot, and then just lays it out to the right-hand side where Jack Rea comes up from right back, plays it forward, just looking to feed in Alex Johnson. A little bit ahead of him, but the right idea, and it's back with the Hednesford goalkeeper, Dan Crane.
That was an extraordinary first touch by Stephen Drench to bring the other goalkeeper's long clearance down onto his foot. Absolutely dead.
Crane, with the ball at his feet outside of the penalty area, launches it forward. Headed away by Lawler, up towards Johnson, but he's beaten to it, and it's up towards the target man, Harvey. Flicked on by Rhys Maynell, the makeshift centre-half. Guys, you haven't had much pressure so far in that back line, but plenty of this game yet to come, only 5 minutes in. And now it's Disney. He comes forward on the right-hand side. He lays it square here to McPherson. McPherson up towards the edge of the 18-yard box, launched clear by Maynell. Up to the halfway line. Hednesford retain possession. Under pressure from Michael Burns. Disney does well. Good battling and helps the ball forward now to Osborne. Osborne starts to run at the Guiseley defenders, gets a shot away with the left foot. Very tame. Straight to Stephen Drench. And the threat has gone. Drench with a long one forward, almost immediately trying to get Johnson away. Johnson's called offside. Puzzled as to how he could have been offside, because surely he was behind the man when the ball was kicked there.
And there was no need to give it either. The Hednesford defenders were back in possession. Probably just needed to let play go on there, really.
Really good crossfield ball from Chris Taylor. Out to the left flank. Hednesford get the ball into the area. Up towards Harvey once again. He can't win it. And then Johnson, under pressure from Matt Regan, wins a free kick inside the Guiseley half.
Warning for the first terrible joke of the day is coming up.
It's not Disney related, is it?
I'm afraid so.
I thought it might be.
We'll wait a few minutes for it. I'll take you by surprise with it.
If you're tuning in from Hednesford, we try and say things as we see it. So we'll try and be balanced across the course of the 90 minutes. Do let us know if you've got any thoughts. Guys, you now have the ball down the right-hand side. Johnson gets it back here to Burns. Burns lets it through his legs. Rothery takes a shot. Cannon's back off the crossbar. Brilliant move from Guiseley, flowing down the right-hand side. Great innovation from Johnson and Burns. Rothery almost applied the finish with the left boot, but it cannons back off the crossbar.
Oh, I tell you what, that deserved a goal, didn't it? What a fantastic move. Johnson springing the offside trap, cutting it back, and Michael Burns with the confidence to step over and leave it for Gavin Rothery.
Burns now helps the ball forward, just can't find his way through to Johnson. Hednesford come back, almost first blood to Guiseley now. They have to defend here because Harvey and Maynell combine on the edge of the area. It's laid back and takes a shot from distance from Aaron Ray. Looked like it might have taken a deflection off a Guiseley man. There was no real shout though for either side, and it's gone out for a goal kick. What a moment that was a couple of moments ago.
Yeah, and of course Guiseley aching to see the first goal under the new era, the Mark Bauer regime, and that looked like the moment, didn't it? Thundering off the underside of the crossbar when an inch further down and it would have bounced down inside the goal.
Yeah, in the last three, of course, no goals for and 7 against for Guiseley.
Doesn't make for good reading, does it?
No, and almost the goalless streak came to an end. Only 1 goal scored at Nethermore for the Lions. Rothery looking to put that right again. Once again gets the ball forward to Brooksby. Guiseley look at a different proposition at the moment. Burns into the area. Up towards Johnson. Nobody able to get there ahead of Dan Crane, the goalkeeper, who immediately looks for the counter-attack. Up towards Aaron Ray. But well shielded, well followed by Spencer Harris. Very coolly headed back to Stephen Drench. Guiseley start things off again with Stephen Drench launching it out towards Ben Parker. Really good touch from Parker. Helps it back here to Maynell, the centre half. Maynell doing well here, helps it forward. Rhys Maynell's been a real stalwart of the side this season, having to take the captain's armband. Now, Parker helps it up towards Johnson. Into the Hednesford half once again. Jake Lawler, square to Parker. Parker, lovely little touch to Burns. Burns, great on the ball into left foot. Helps it out to Parker. Parker's offside. Very, very tight. I have to say that's the third decision. You just think that was very close.
Yeah, that was a bit closer than the first one that we saw, but sooner or later, if guys carry on doing that, they will beat the offside trap there.
0-0 here on Guiseley AFC Radio. If you want to share your thoughts on the game, if you're tuning in, then you can do so via Twitter. Just use our Twitter feed, which is at Guiseley Radio. At Guiseley Radio. And let us know if you've got any feedback or thoughts. As it stands, it's 0-0. Just coming up to the 10-minute mark. A very bright start for the Lions. And already Gavin Rothery's hit the crossbar. A wonderful move that Rothery almost finished. And Hednesford at the moment under the cosh, under pressure. And a careless foul really from Ben Bailey on Alex Johnson. He's certainly earning plenty of free kicks for Guiseley. This time just inside the opposition half.
I think that was one where the defender had made the jump for the ball and had just left his arm trailing and caught Johnson in the head, who was still on the ground. You could argue it's a slightly unlucky one to give away as a defender, but it is technically, I think, a foul.
Jack Rhea gets the ball on the right-hand side from the free kick. Forward to Potts. Potts under pressure, goes back to Rhea, gets the ball back from Rhea. Good combination play here from Guiseley once again. The ball in towards Potts from the edge of the touchline. I almost jinxed that there from Brooksby because it was a weak ball. Almost immediately the visitors go looking for the counter-attack. Stephen Drench's clearance not good enough this time. He hits the touchline rather than finding a man. And Hednesford have a throw in a dangerous position.
No, but Spencer Harris has made another very assured start at the centre of defence, shielding a couple of balls well and cushioning them back to the keeper. That's a good sign in a makeshift centre-back pairing. Guiseley
now have to defend this throw. About level with the edge of the 18-yard box. It's a long one into the area, looking for Harvey, then for Ray. Then the centre half, Regan, almost gets on the end of it. Now Guiseley try to counter-attack here. Alex Johnson does really well to turn his man. Hauled down by John Disney. And Disney is going to be spoken to by the referee, Fivey. And he'll either speak to him or put him in the book. I think it might be just his first talking to be honest. But Guiseley have the free kick. And in a dangerous position as well.
Yeah, Alex Johnson had the defender running scared there, didn't he? He was desperate to turn and start running at a goal, and the defender just sort of had to do what he could to stop him.
On the left-hand side, Brooksby takes the free kick, whips it in towards the edge of the area. Up jumps Crane. And Maynell unfortunately bundles him over, and the referee, quite correctly, gives a free kick to Hednesford. And we've had 12 minutes. Goalless, but not exactly incident-free this first spell. It's been a good opening for the Lions.
Yeah, it's been a very bright start by Guiseley, and Hednesford not had a chance to offer too much of themselves yet. They've not really been in possession enough to try and fashion too much.
Burns out here towards Johnson. Johnson hugs the touchline, lays it back to Lawler. Good movement again. Lawler checks for options ahead of him. Goes right towards Jack Rhea. Rhea has to turn on a bit of pace and skill to get control of that ball and then help it across field to Ben Parker, who lays it square to Burns. Guys, he's just trying to craft out an opening here. Finds it forward to Potts. Potts shapes up to get the ball in towards Jake Johnson. Just bounces the ball past the upright. An absolute wonderful move. A great ball in there from Potts. Picked out Johnson inside the area. Got it onto the left boot. Couldn't direct it on target and it bounces wide.
Well, I confidently predicted goals before the kick-off today, but it looks like the ones that are almost going in, they're just not going the right side of the woodwork so far.
Guiseley have really started brightly this afternoon. 2 chances within the opening 13 minutes that they should have scored from already. Here's the Mark Bauer hoodoo beginning to strike again. He's not had the rub of the green, that's for sure, here at Nethermore so far as manager. Now Michael Burns comes forward again. The wind in Guiseley sails at the moment. The ball forward, headed away, and out for a throw-in to the Lions. It's going to be Ben Parker, a new signing, making his Guiseley debut this afternoon. And left back has options ahead of him, including Gavin Rothery. Gets the ball back to Parker. Parker into Rothery's feet. Rothery goes towards the edge of the area. 3 players around him. Takes a shot. Hits the outside of the upright. And goes behind for a goal kick. And what a chance again, and what good movement there from Parker and Rothery to craft out that opening.
It was, wasn't it? Ben Parker's been involved in a lot of the good stuff that Guiseley have been doing. The left-hand side is not normally one of Guiseley's most fruitful areas when they're in possession, but he and Michael Burns are doing all sorts of dangerous work down the left of the pitch. And of course that means if we can get the right of the midfield going as well, and Jack Ray getting forward, that's really going to stretch the defence for Hednesford.
I'm glad to hear we're disrupting some people. David Kendra just tweeting to say he's listening. Unfortunately, while he's at work, and people keep interrupting him to do his job.
That's selfish.
Sorry to inconvenience you. David Kendra's employers, perhaps they can just let you have an extended lunch break. It's going well, though, so far here at Nethermore. Guiseley maybe haven't got the goal, but they've had everything but 3 real golden chances. And it's the manner in which they've been created as well that's been so impressive.
Yeah, incisive passing, opening the defence up, not just moving it around idly, but really getting interesting passes through that split defenders.
Ball forward here towards Alex Johnson. Johnson under pressure, keeps hold of the ball. And Guiseley a throw-in at just about 10 yards up from the corner flag on the left-hand side. Parker takes it, combines well with Burns once again. Burns this time can't find the ball through to Parker, and it's cleared. And as far as Maynell. And Maynell sprays a lovely ball out to the opposite side where Jack Rea picks it up under pressure. And then it's forward to Brooksby. Surely Brooksby's been fouled, the referee says so. Brooksby's down, clutching his ankle. And it seemed to be a rather clumsy tackle from behind, didn't it?
It's another one of those where he's moved the ball away quite quickly and the defenders come in late. He does draw a lot of fouls that way because he doesn't wait always to control the ball. He's always looking to turn it around the corner and spin and move. And it does mean he gets clattered on his ankles and his shins quite a lot.
To be fair, a malicious tackle. It was a clumsy late challenge. Now, Guiseley start the ball down the right-hand side with Potts. Potts plays it forward towards Johnson. Johnson out to the right-hand side. Rea gets into the area just ahead of Potts, who was following up on the run. But Guiseley do have the corner. And it's a corner that's going to go on the right-hand side. I was just waiting for Nick to come in there for a moment. They're just staring at each other. Guiseley have the corner on the right-hand side here with Michael Burns. He puts the ball in towards the back post where Spencer Harris is waiting. He gets the ball across the area, but nobody can get on the end of it. Back out here towards Harris once again. Harris with the left boot, right towards the back post. Taken down brilliantly by Michael Burns. Into the area, on the edge of the 6-yard box, across the face of goal. Cleared away somehow, and then clutched gratefully by Dan Crane. And Guiseley almost open up Hednesford once again.
Well, it's like we've stepped into a time warp. This is exactly the sort of football we were seeing here at Nethermore this time last year. This is the sort of football that was bringing people into the ground, just getting men forward, these bundling balls in the box. I think it must only be a matter of time until we see a goal here today, surely.
Well, the visitors have a throw. 17 minutes gone. It's hard to imagine how many chances we've had in that opening quarter. Quarter of an hour. 4 or 5 good chances to score now.
Well, we've had more chances in this game than maybe 2 or 3 of the worst games we've seen so far this season combined.
Hednesford now looking to turn the screw on the other side of the field. Ray lays it back to Campion. The captain plays it forward up towards Harvey. Harvey and Ray try to combine, but it's cut out by Spencer Harris. Back into Guiseley's Hednesford's half, and the ball goes all the way back to the goalkeeper.
I'm thinking back to very attritional games like the one we saw here at home to Workington, where we got the last-minute winner or the last-minute of added time winner, but there weren't a lot of chances in that game, not so many as we've had already today.
Style of football much different at the moment. Parker launches it forward up to Johnson. Headed away well by Bailey. Good work from the centre halves, and it's out here to Disney. The right back launches it down the right flank up towards Harvey. This tall and powerful striker. Beaten to it this time by Maynell, but does earn his side a throw-in. And it's on the right-hand side, about level with the edge of the 18-yard box. They've been putting in a few long throws from the left-hand side. From the right, Disney. Doesn't look like he's got the same ambition to launch this one into the area. He does play it short, gets the ball back, hugs the touchline, goes back to Bailey, it comes square across field here. Chris Taylor launches it into the area, easy for Stephen Drench to claim. And the goalkeeper just launches it out with the throw to pick out Brooksby down the right-hand side. And Brooksby starts to run. Nobody closing him down. Plays it out towards Johnson, just a little bit ahead of him. And this time it's claimed by Dan Crane.
Yeah, so that was a little bit too heavy, the touch, wasn't it? Just a little bit too far ahead of Alex Johnson. He'd have had to be very fast to get onto that in time. But the right idea.
Headed on by Jack Rea. Guiseley battling hard in midfield to win the ball back. But good work again from Hednesford. They get the ball away. Harvey cutting a lonely figure at the moment in the Guiseley half. Him and his strike partner, Aaron Ray. They've had precious little to work on in this opening period. Plenty of this game to go yet, though. As we approach the 20-minute mark, all the action has been in the Hednesford half. Throw into Hednesford at the moment inside their own half. Mark Bauer will be delighted with the performance so far, but must be beginning to wish the back of the net could be hit.
You get the impression it's one of those where the floodgates are almost waiting to open, and once the first one's in, that'll just settle all of these players down, and they'll know that what they're doing is going to work, and they'll feel a little bit more confident in carrying on trying it.
Head tennis at the moment in the centre of the park. Jake Lawler is fouled by Ray. He just put in a good header himself, actually, a few moments earlier. Lawler. He's coming to his own in the recent performances. Jake Lawler put in a very assured performance at centre-half on Tuesday.
Well, you forget as well what a difference it makes having such a tall player in the midfield, acting as a shield from those long clearances. A lot of these balls aren't getting to our makeshift centre defence pairing because he's heading them away before it gets that far.
Now Parker's found Rothery from the throw, and Rothery's gone a little run. Just tries to feed the ball through to Johnson, but can't get there. Back here, well won by Burns, and then a shot from Rothery from distance. Takes a deflection on the way towards goal. It's gone over, and it's gone behind for a corner.
Well, Gavin Rothery looks in the mood for a goal, doesn't he, today? He looks like he's brought his shooting boots with him. He's been so close 2 or 3 times already.
He's the real Lionel Messi out there today, isn't he?
That's right. He looks like he could be a Barcelona player in disguisely.
Now, Brooksby with a corner up towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed away. Battle on now between Potts and the Hednesford midfielder, Chris Taylor, to get the ball back. Potts wins that one. And then eventually Gavin Rothery and Ben Parker have to help it all the way back to Stephen Drench. Hednesford doing well to defend their lines this time. Now Jack Rea steps up towards the halfway line. The positions in the league are not telling on the field at the moment. Guiseley dominant in this opening period. Long ball forward from Spencer Harris, a little aimless, and it's gone out for a throw-in in left-back position inside Hednesford's half.
First thoughts on Ben Parker. First chance we've had a moment to think about how he's done so far. Looks very assured. Obviously, we'd expect him to look assured playing in his most comfortable position, but he looks like an athlete, doesn't he? There's nothing on him. He's a tall, strong-looking, very lean player.
Yeah, he's just made a run forward again, once again, just to prove the point. Nice 1-2 between Brooksby and Rothery. Brooksby into the area, cut out well by Matt Regan. Brooksby was just lining up the shot. Matt Regan came in with a super challenge to deny him, and it's gone behind for another corner.
And just to finish that thought, sometimes when you see players who've played in the league coming down, the main difference is just the stature of them, and he's as tall as our centre-backs, and he obviously looks...
The corner comes in, just to break you off there, Nick, for a moment, just over Jake Lawler. And if it's gone over Jake Lawler, it must be high. It's gone out for a throw-in on the opposite side.
He obviously looks like he's worked hard to get himself in the condition ready to dip his toe back into first-team football and kind of get his career moving again. But that would be an interesting player to have around the squad as well, because he knows what it takes to... another one like Mark Bauer and Andy Holdsworth, who knows what it takes to look after yourself in terms of how to be professional, to get your physical side of your game up to match your actual talent.
He's still only 25, isn't he, as well? It's a real coup, I think, as a signing. Guys, you now have to start again and carve out another attacking movement down this right-hand side. They've made a few yards on the right-hand side and earned another throw, just about level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Taken short now, Jack Rea, combining with Rothery. Back to Burns, Burns into Lawler, all down this right-hand flank, and Lawler's ball over the over towards the right-hand channel is just a little bit heavy, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
So it's just slowed down a little bit in the last 5 minutes, hasn't it? Just lost a little bit of the early momentum that they had, Guiseley, and mustn't fall back and feel like they need to change their strategy, because everything they've done so far has suggested that it's going to bear fruit if they carry on with it.
Another player, of course, on the bench today, Paul Ennis, who we would hope to get to sight of at some point during the afternoon, I would think. It'd be interesting to see how he fits into the squad.
Yeah, he'll be raring to go. He's been waiting so long to get international clearance coming from another club in our division.
There's just a wicked deflection in midfield. Ball bounced off Jake Lawler. It went back towards the goalkeeper. I think the young fans behind that goal were rather hopeful that might have caught Dan Crane napping, but no, nothing of it. Lawler does well in midfield, wins the header brilliantly again, just ahead of Ray. Then it's launched clear by Maynell. Unfortunately, just too far ahead of everyone. Back to the goalkeeper once again, Crane. And another good signing midweek, of course, was the return of John Worsnop.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? The last time he was here, he was the first choice goalkeeper during the season we won the Evo Stick Premier, the Unibond Premier as it was then. So we know he's a safe pair of hands.
Now Hednesford have a throw inside Guiseley's half, midway through the left-hand side of the field. They lay it back. It's back here with Regan, and then out towards Chris Taylor. Taylor launches it down the left channel. A bit of attack with intent here. Guiseley have to defend well. Rhea does. Makes an important block. Not the greatest of clearances second off. This time from Harris. Goes out for another throw. Durrell, the midfielder, earns his side a corner now. And there's some big players in this Hednesford side. A lot of aerial threat. The two centre-halves are coming forward, Ben Bailey and Matt Regan. Not to say least Neil Harvey and Aaron Ray, who both look to have good height on them. The corner is on the left-hand side. As Hednesford attack it, it's curled in towards the 6-yard box. It was met by Regan, but he couldn't direct the header, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
No, couldn't make the height advantage pay there, could they? Which was something that you think Hednesford are going to want to take advantage of as the game goes on.
26 minutes gone. Guiseley 0, Hednesford 0. The two sides locked, but it's not really reflective of the game as it's played out so far, with the Lions dominating things in this opening period, and have had 3 or 4 really good chances to break the deadlock. Hednesford clear up to the halfway line. Jake Lawler plays it forward, picked up well by Gavin Rothery. Rothery, he's got options, twists brilliantly, turns past 3 of them, plays the ball forward towards Johnson. Johnson's pushed off the ball, but there's Brooksby to pick it up, gets to the byline, tries to get it across, earns his side a corner. Once again, a little bit of creativity from Gavin Rothery and some good play from Johnson, and Brooksby almost carves out an opening.
It shows how just moving the ball quickly is going to unlock this defence.
Burns gets the corner in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, helped on up to the back post. Maynell keeps it live, but it's headed away by Durrell. Up towards Potts. Potts helps it all the way back to Stephen Drench. Harvey just goes looking for it, but Drench is alive to the opportunity to clear up the right-hand side. Tries to play a ball out towards Michael Burns. Jack Rear in the end picks up the loose one and then launches it down the right channel. Looking for Brooksby. Beaten to it, Matt Regan helps it up towards Harvey. Now Hednesford try to keep the ball in play with Harvey, but they've conceded the throw. 0-0 here on Guiseley AFC Radio. And Guiseley once again, as they've been doing so much this half, trying to carve out another opening. Lawler's just launched one forward, looking for Johnson. And it's gone out. And it's going to be a throw-in, deep inside the Hednesford half. Parker takes it short to Lawler, gets the ball back from Lawler, and then gives it back to him on the edge of the 18-yard box. Johnson collects, and then cleared. Chris Taylor, only as far as Jack Rear, who comes forward down this right-hand flank. Rear tries to set through Johnson, but is beaten away. Now a chance for a Hednesford counter-attack. Good ball from Ree to find Harvey. Harvey down the left-hand side. He's waiting for support to come. Taken away by Spencer Harris and Potts. And Potts and Harris combine very neatly in that right back position to clear up to Johnson on the halfway line. Johnson with a bit of skill under great pressure. He's got three Hednesford players around him, and they end up bundling him over and conceding a rather cheap free kick.
Yeah, I don't know if they needed to give that away there. Just watching the guys' defence there, the reason that Hednesford are struggling to get at this this first-time centre-back pairing is because Potts and Lawler are doing such a good job of getting back in there. It was almost like seeing a flat-back six there. Hednesford were on the break and immediately Potts and Lawler back in there, and there were enough of them there to just snuff out the threat.
Potts has impressed me all season, actually. I know there's been some varying views, but I think he's done very well.
Well, he's come from higher up, hasn't he? He's come from League Two with York last season. I think he just needed a little while to get himself properly match fit, because he obviously wants to run around and work very hard. And I imagine that must be quite frustrating when you're coming back into playing 90 minutes regularly, that you're not quite able to do that as much as you want.
Trench has just cleared up towards Lawler on the halfway line. And it's now out wide here to Rhea, and then he helps it on to Rothery. Rothery starts another run at this Hednesford back four, goes to the edge of the area, can't get the ball off him, takes a shot. Just unconvincingly pushed over by Dan Crane. It was central. Crane probably could have even held it, but in the end he opted to push it over the bar. Guys, you have another corner.
I don't think he opted to push it over the bar. I think it had moved so much in the air that he was just happy to get a hand behind it and just knock it anywhere away from him. It must have moved in front of him. We couldn't see it from where we were.
Guys with the corner. Brooksby whips it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Crane gets the punch away. Crane to the ground. Guys, keep the ball moving. No foul on the goalkeeper. And then in the end, the ball's knocked out into touch. Well, by Disney, making the challenge. But guys, now pick it up once again down this right-hand side with Rothery. Rothery with two players on him. Is fouled, goes to ground clutching his ankle, and this time I wonder whether the referee might just bring out a yellow card. He opts not to. Michael Burns isn't happy at all with the challenge, and neither is Rhys Maynell, but Rothery does look in a little bit of discomfort over there.
Oh, we've seen it a few times already today, and we've already commented on the fact that he's just a little bit too intelligent for some of the defenders. That the defenders need to learn to stand off him a little bit more rather than go into the ankles, because they're going to find the ball has already gone and they're going to give away free kick time after time.
Referee just telling Michael Burns to calm down, but Burns was very upset with that challenge on Rothery. And the referee's having a prolonged discussion with the Guiseley man, and eventually he's calling over Elliot Durrell. And I don't know if it was Durrell who was the man who did the foul, but I presume he was. And the referee, I think, is just doing the calm down motion. So I don't think we'll see a card just yet. So free kick nonetheless. Dangerous position because it's right out by the touchline, where Guiseley have about the ball on the right-hand side, about level with the edge of the 18-yard box, almost on the touchline. And it's whipped in here by Michael Burns up towards Spencer Harris, who couldn't get the head on it. Just went behind him, and then Hednesford can counter-attack. Jack Rhea taking no chances, under pressure from Aaron Ray, launches it into touch. And it's a chance now for Hednesford to mount an attack. 32 minutes gone. Seems longer, this game. We've had more of this game than 32 minutes because there's been so much incident.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch, hasn't it? And really entertaining too.
Hednesford have the ball now, down here with Chris Taylor. Taylor goes back under pressure from Rothery. It's opposite number. Rothery hassling and harrying him. Taylor plays it square. Regan shows cool head to collect it away from Michael Burns under pressure. Campion down the left-hand side. Great tackle there from Potts. And it's won. Sorry, Jack Rhea. I did my usual Potts-Rhea confusion. All apologies. On the end, Rhea has been fouled. And I think finally there will be a yellow card, because I think Durrell was the man who was just spoken to 2 minutes earlier for the foul on Rothery. Maynell's just making the point as well. And referee just telling Rhys Maynell to make sure his team leave it to him. Now, that's not another talking to, is it?
Another severe letting off, yeah, I think so.
Well, I thought it was Durrell who just got spoken to 2 minutes ago.
It was.
Well, that's curious. So, referee Graham Fivey, perhaps he's forgotten his pencil. He's not going to book the player on this instant. Stephen Drench launches it forward, down the right-hand side, headed away by Campion, helped up towards the edge of the 18-yard box. There's a man down under the challenge of Jake Lawler. Referee's decided that's not foul either. Certainly didn't look like there was much intent in the challenge, but Maynell has the ball in the halfway line. Plays it forward poorly. It's blocked out now. Chance for Ray to counter-attack. Harvey down the left-hand side. Harvey's the only man forward, so Ray holds it up until he gets support. Taylor comes over the halfway line and to the edge of the centre circle. And Hednesford then play the ball out wide to Campion, forward to Durrell, and then taken away from him by Spencer Harris. Keeps it just... I thought he'd kept it in touch, but just went out. It's going to be a throw-in. This is going to be dangerous again because Campion launches these balls into the area and it's almost like a set piece with his throw, level with the edge of the 18-yard box again.
Yeah, and as you say, that Ben Bailey trundling up into the Guiseley box there, one of their tallest players looking to get an opportunity.
Sorry, it's Jamie Osborne, actually, the long throw specialist. He launches it up towards the edge of the 6-yard box, just flicked away by Potts, and then there's a foul. And I would have to say, if I was in the Hednesford team, I would be very frustrated with conceding such a cheap foul in the penalty area. Long ball forward now, looking for Johnson. Johnson doing well again, under pressure, controls the ball really well, helps it into Jack Greer. Guys, you need to capitalise on this first half performance. Jack Greer under pressure, plays it forward, well to Potts. Potts going to just get the better of Regan, but in doing so, takes it out. It's gone out for a throw-in.
Yeah, when you're feeding on scraps, as Hednesford have been, and struggling to get good possession together, it's important to make the most of those set pieces, and so frustrating for their strikers to see that opportunity robbed of them just by a silly little foul in the box.
Stephen Drench's clearance is returned by Hednesford, only up to the halfway line. Brooksby and Burns try to combine, but it's picked up now by Jamie Osborne. Osborne runs forward and to the right-hand side. He's got a few options ahead of him, but he's unable to pick out his pass. So goes all the way back to Regan. Regan lays it out to the left-hand side, just over the halfway line, where Campion sends it down the channel. Up towards Harvey. Harvey bustling through 3 players. Is dispossessed. Durrell's there to pick up the scraps, and then the ball into the area. Ray found himself free for a moment, but he couldn't get onto the end of it. Stephen Drench is there, and he launches the counter-attack immediately by sending the ball Burns' way. But it's well defended by Disney, and eventually Crane gets a clearance up to the halfway line. Picked up now by Parker. Guys, you just need to recover some of that creative spark that they found in the opening moment. See if they can get something else out of this. A late tackle on Brooksby. The ball's gone forward towards Johnson. Johnson's gone down. Burns has picked up the loose ball. Now towards the touchline. He's got great pressure from the defence and eventually earns his side a corner. But there was a late tackle once again on Wayne Brooksby. And referee gave the advantage. That doesn't mean he can't pull it back and actually give a yellow card if he needs to.
I really hope it doesn't escalate as it did on Tuesday night when we were seeing a lot of those type of challenges, trying to stop players running with the ball at the defence. I hope the referee does something to quell that, because we don't want to see another situation with however many yellow cards there were handed out on Tuesday night because the referee hadn't got a hold of it earlier on in the game.
Exactly that. Well, guys, you now have the corner. It's on the left-hand side as we attack the goal here. Brooksby whips it in, again up to the edge of the 6-yard box, and nobody there in the right places, or not the right ball, one of the two, but either way, Hednesford have cleared. Rotherham tries to collect the scraps, but in doing so, concedes a throw.
I'll tell you why the Guiseley creative spark has gone a little bit is they haven't had the ball out here on the left for quite a little while now. That just where they were building with Ben Parker and Wayne Brooksby on the left there was the first time we've had it over this side of the pitch for about 10 minutes, I think.
Ball's at the feet of Rhys Maynell. He lays it out wide here to Parker. Parker starts a run down this left-hand side, looks to charge forward with intent, lays it out to Brooksby. Brooksby then tries to go past Disney. Disney gets the better of him and will have earned his side the throw-in as well. Good defending from the fullback, but it doesn't seem to be as effective, does it, with Brooksby on this side? And as you can see, they look like they're going to swap it over again. Because Burns was getting much more joy down this flank.
It's a while since Guiseley have played with 2 such confident left-footers as Ben Parker and Michael Burns, so I think they should take advantage of that while they've got it down here, because it gives them the ability to really play down on the touchline, using the full width of the pitch.
Ball's gone out. Crane has tried to set Jamie Osborne on his way, but Osborne couldn't keep it in touch. Guiseley restart with a throw. Down the left-hand side, Rothery looks for the ball. He's beaten to it. Well blocked out by Parker as Hednesford tried to start another attack, and then Osborne under pressure loses out and then wins the ball back, and Osborne comes over the halfway line. His options to his left, plays a terrible ball. Durrell has to go back 2 or 3 yards and loses some of the momentum, but he does well to keep it and then plays it forward rather aimlessly, easy for Harris to clear. Guiseley at the moment just not seeing as much of the ball as they did in that opening 20 minutes or so, where they were dominant. Have Hednesford weathered the early storm? Ball forward now from Durrell, looking to pick out Ray, but just a little bit ahead of him. It's gone behind for a goal kick. 40 minutes mark, so as we enter the last 5 of the half, Guiseley are drawing here, 0-0 at Nethermore, here on Guiseley AFC Radio. Don't forget, if you've got any comments on the game, do let us know. You can tweet us at Guiseley AFC Radio. We'll be here all the way through the half-time. Tom Feeney will be bringing you all the latest scores. We're back underway here at Nethermore, where Guiseley are trying to mark out their position in the game with another movement down the right-hand side. Brooksby helps it across the face of the 18-yard box, but it's easy cut out. This time, a long one forward. Scrappy period of play. Reese Maynell collects the ball inside his own half. Helps it on to Burns, and then Burns can't feed the ball into Rothery. And then eventually it's all the way back with Stephen Drench. Drench launches it really well out here to Parker. Parker takes it down nicely on the left foot. Plays it forward, looking for Johnson. Johnson tries to turn Ben Bailey. Bailey does enough to help it back to the goalkeeper.
I'll tell you what, if Ben Parker was unsure about stepping down to Conference North level, he'll be delighted to see passes like that coming from his goalkeeper straight to his feet, so he can turn and get forward up the pitch. I think might be surprised actually at the standard of football he does see down here.
Well, a long one forward. Again from Hednesford is mounted to very little. Harvey flicked it on, but there's no one ahead of him. So we see Parker collect the ball and lay it into Maynell. Short now to Potts. Potts into the foot of Brooksby. Potts picks up the second ball, lays it square. And then a lovely ball back into Potts here on the left-hand side. Potts is tripped by Dave McPherson. McPherson denies any wrongdoing. But this is another free kick in a good, dangerous position here.
It is over on the left-hand side as Guiseley look at it, so maybe made for a right footer this one, or it could be one for Michael Burns to sort of swing in onto a striker's head perhaps, but I think Wayne Brooksby's got his eye on it.
Once again, a captain's been called over, Campion, because I think McPherson's just argued once a little bit too much, but you may hear some direct views from the Guiseley stand, but at the moment the card has remained in the referee's pocket. Campion's had another talking to. They're all very naughty boys out here today. They've all had a lot of talking to from the referee.
Yeah, it's all fun and games, but I hope it doesn't lead to an injury or something if the referee isn't doing enough about those challenges.
Now Brooksby on the left-hand side, about level with the edge of the angle of the 18-yard box, but a good 20 yards from goal. Puts the ball into the area. Nobody gets on the end of it. Helped away up to the centre circle. Parker's there to help it back here to Brooksby. Brooksby can distribute this into the area. That would be good. Plays it forward towards Jake Lawler. And it's cut out by Bailey. And then Hednesford can counter-attack once again. Over the halfway line now. It's Osborne. Goes running. A lunge as he tried to retrieve that ball. Spencer Harris kept his cool. Collected it from him. And then helps it out here to Wayne Brooksby, who makes another marauding run down this left flank. Brooksby with Disney to beat. He's bundled over. No foul, to be fair. Brooksby helps it back, though, to Parker. Parker, good feet, helps the ball square to Lawler. Lawler's got rear on the right-hand side. Plays it square, central, rather, to Johnson. And Johnson gives it back to Lawler inside the Hednesford half. And then a really poor ball from Jake Lawler. And it's gone out for a Hednesford throw.
Yeah, he's kicking himself after that, Jake Lawler. He had Ben Parker and Michael Burns to choose from, and just went between Burns and Alex Johnson, actually, in the end, who wasn't maybe so available to receive the ball.
Throw in to Hednesford in their right-back position. Disney launches it up over the halfway line, flicked on by Osborne. Then down to Durrell. Durrell under pressure from Mainel. Does well, really well to hold on to the ball, and then plays a lovely little ball into the area, but Ray can't get on the end of it. Harris is there ahead of him. Headed on, up towards Osborne once again. He helps it out to Durrell once again. Durrell unmarked on the right-hand side, can get the ball into the area. Plays it in with some pace, but it's a little bit too close to Stephen Drench. The goalkeeper holds on to it comfortably and then lays it out, rolls it out to Jack Rea. Rea comes over the halfway line. Guys, you're looking to see if they can snatch something before the break. Hednesford cut the ball out and then play it forward. Headed down by Harvey and then dealt with by Harris. Up from Jack Rea. A long one forward. Well watched there by the centre-half, Matt Regan, who helps it back to goalkeeper Dan Crane. Guiseley look like they're going to have to another 45 minutes of football to their name without a goal. Crane with the goal kick up to the halfway line. Flicked on by Disney. Picked up now by Ben Parker inside his own half. Guys, have it just on the edge of their own 18-yard box. Referee just having a look at the watch. Don't think we've had any announcement as to any added time. It's up towards Michael Burns on the left-hand side. Burns collects as we go over the 45 minutes. And Guiseley take the ball back into their own half. Rhys Mainel looks to see if there are any options for a long ball forward. Plays it neatly towards Johnson. Johnson's distribution this time not so great. Cut out by Jamie Osborne. And the referee has decided that that's the full complement for the first half. And it's been a good first half. And guys, you've had chance after chance. Gavin Rothery hit the crossbar and the outside of the upright. There was chances in abundance in the opening 15 minutes. How Guiseley aren't in the lead, we'll never know. But yet again, another 45 minutes without a goal, Nick.
Yeah, but Guiseley can be very pleased with their first half's work. They came out and moved the ball around quickly, immediately making chances and panicking the defenders. And I think what we've seen in these first two games, this one and the Bradford Park Avenue one that we hadn't seen prior this season, is the moving of the ball after one or two touches and then making yourself available for the ball to come back. And it's that pass and move sort of football that the fans had started to miss a little bit, and Mark Bauer has said he wants to bring it back. And it looks like it's likely to pay dividends. But Hednesford will be very happy to get in at half-time, 0-0. Maybe they'll wonder if they've weathered the worst of the storm. Guiseley have started to, maybe they'll sort of blown themselves out in the first half. And as the game goes on, Hednesford will be looking to try and catch on the break and get one or two opportunities that would be enough to maybe grab a goal. Overall, I think 0-0 doesn't really reflect the way the first half has gone, but another half like that, you'd expect you would see a goal at some point in it, probably a Guiseley goal, maybe one or two, and maybe once they've got that first one, the floodgates will open and they'll start to feel like as we've said, the tactics they're using are paying off, and maybe see two or three more come along.
Yeah, well, it's been a very vibrant first half of football from the Lions, and we look forward to more in the second half. But during the half-time break, we will keep you up to date with all that's happening around the grounds with our very own Tom Feeney.
Well, thank you, Colin. And, well, how are Guiseley not a goal up? Maybe two goals up. Gavin Rothery has hit the bar, he's hit the post, he's had the keeper has made a bit of a clang with a save. That looked like that were going in. We've had a number of chances, and I've got to say, though, the positive has to be the way Guiseley have played during this first half. Fine, the score says 0-0, but really, we should be two, maybe three goals up. But anyway, it is 0-0, and the second half, of course, for Guiseley. Just go through the bench. Jamil Iblay, Andy Holdsworth, Craig Hobson, Paul Ennis, John Worsnop, the substitute goalkeeper who we've got on a deal contract with FC United of Manchester. And in terms of Guiseley, Craig Hobson may be coming off the bench, adding a bit of height in attack. That could be an option, but we'll have to wait and see if Mark Bauer is happy with the squad he's got out there. I've got to say, Alex Johnson, Michael Burns, Gavin Rothery, all impressing in their forward roles during today's game. Well, the second half will be coming up in about 15 minutes' time, but first, all the scores that are coming in right now, and of course a busy fixture list today with plenty going on. And a full time in the Barclays Premier League, it ended Norwich 0, Aston Villa 1, and of course Paul Lambert returning to Carrow Road and seeing his side get a 1-0 win thanks to their new signing Kozak, who they signed from Lazio on transfer deadline day. And for Norwich, well, it's a defeat, and I've got to say it's one that they had a penalty saved early on. Robert Snodgrass' shot was well saved by Brad Goose, I've got to say. Anyway, the remaining scores now in the Barclays Premier League, and these are all half-times. It's Liverpool 0, Southampton 0. Newcastle United are leading Hull 2-1. Loic Remy with both goals. Robbie Brady getting a goal in between that. West Brom are leading 1-0. And it had to happen, didn't it? Stevan Sessegnon, who left Sunderland on transfer deadline day, on his debut, has scored against Sunderland for West Brom in the 20th minute. And the final score in the Barclays Premier League is Ravel Morrison's given West Ham the lead. It's 1-0 against Everton, and that's Morrison's first goal for the season. Now a full-time in the N-Power Championship. The Sky Bet Championship, should I say. And that is that Charlton have lost 1-0 to Millwall. Scott MacDonald with the goal just before half-time. And for Millwall, with the pressure Steve Lomas has been under over the last few weeks, this is a massive result for his side, getting a big win in a local derby. Now the rest, some of these are half-time. Most of them are, one or two are still playing. It's Barnsley 1, Watford 3. This game is still playing at the moment. And it's also Birmingham 3, Sheffield Wednesday 0. I've got to say, it's Lingard, who's been signed from Manchester United on loan. I've just seen he scored a hat-trick. I thought he'd only scored 2. Anyway, the rest of these scores are half-times now, and it's Blackburn 0, Huddersfield Town 0, Blackpool 1, Leicester 0, Brighton 0, Bolton 1. Of course, Dougie Freeman, who's another manager under a bit of pressure. A own goal by Lopez has given Bolton the lead. Derby 0, Reading 0, Doncaster 1, Nottingham Forest 1, Leeds United 0, Burnley 2, and the goals at Elland Road have been scored by Scott Arfield, the former Huddersfield Town midfielder, and Sam Vokes. Middlesbrough 2, Bournemouth 2, and Yeovil 0, QPR 0. In the Sky Bet League 1, there's a full time. It's Shrewsbury 0, Wolves 1, and of course Wolves are high flying at the moment. Bakary Saka with the penalty, 6 minutes to go until full time. There, and another 3 points then for Wolves. It looks like they are getting into their stride and will be trying to get back into the Sky Bet Championship for next season. The rest of these are half times. It's Colchester 1, Crawley 1, Gillingham 0, Bradford City 1, and the goal there for Bradford City was scored by Gareth Jones. Notts County 1, Tranmere 0, Oldham 0, Crewe Alexander 1, Peterborough 2, MK Dons 0, Port Vale 1, Coventry 2, Sheffield United 0, Preston North End 0, and of course it's been a turbulent week for Sheffield United in terms of the media coverage they've received after the signing of Marlon King until the end of the season. Of course, after his past. Stevenage 0, Carlisle 1, Swindon 2, Bristol City 2, and Walsall 1, Rotherham 1. And Daniel Nardiello, a man on form, he has got the goal for Rotherham, but that was cancelled out by Montham for Walsall just before half-time. In the Sky Bet League 2, it's all these results, all these fixtures are at half-time at the moment, I should say, and it's Accrington Stanley 1, Rochdale 2, Wimbledon 0, Burton 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Hartlepool 2, Bury 0, Southend 1, Exeter 0, Newport even 1, Mansfield 2, Northampton 0, Morecambe 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Oxford United 0, Chesterfield 1, and of course Chesterfield are the form team in the Sky Bet League 2, and Humphreys has got their goal as they look to continue their impressive run of form since the start of the season. Portsmouth 0, Fleetwood 0, Scunthorpe 0, Plymouth 0, Torquay 2, Cheltenham 1, and Wickham 0, York 0. In the SPL, it's Aberdeen 0, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0, Celtic 2, St Johnstone 0, and Timu Pukki, a man who was signed near transfer deadline day for about £2 million from Schalke. He's really made an impression for Celtic, scoring on his debut against Hearts and scoring today. And Charlie Mulgrew with the other goal. Hibs 1, St Mirren 0. And Collins with the goal. Of course, James Collins, who's arrived from Swindon Town during the transfer window. He's gone to the SPL and he's starting to get some goals for his new side. Partick Thistle 1, Kilmarnock 0. And Ross County 0, Hearts 1. All these scores are half-times in the Skrill Conference Premier, and it's Aldershot 0, Wrexham 0, Alfreton Town 1, Barnet 0, Braintree 1, Southport 0, Cambridge 1, Forest Green 0, Chester, who of course Guiseley had the mammoth battle with last season, 0, Grimsby Town, who sacked their manager during midweek, 0, Dartford 1, Kidderminster 0, Halifax 1, Hereford 1, and for Halifax, they conceded a goal early on. Richie Brodie, who of course was at York City once upon a time. Dan Gardner with the equaliser, and of course it's Dan Gardner in the squad scoring the goals that means Alex Johnson is allowed to go to Guiseley and join us on loan for the month. Hopefully we will be getting that loan extended. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Hyde 0, Welling 1, Luton 0, Lincoln City 1, Macclesfield 2, Woking 0, Nuneaton 0, Salisbury 0, and Tamworth 0, Gateshead 1. And of course, Guiseley will be aiming to get into that league next season, all things go well. If we can play the kind of football we've been playing over the last few games since Mark Barrow's taken charge, and surely the results will come, and you never know, we might get into the playoffs, we might get automatic promotion. We'll have to wait and see what happens. In the Skrill Conference North, and these are half-time results, some are coming in right now. And it's Barrow 2, Histon 0, Bradford Park Avenue 1, Solihull Moors 2. And of course, both Bradford Park Avenue and Solihull Moors, sorry for reminding you, have beaten Guiseley at Nevermore Park during the season so far. And Bradford Park Avenue, of course, who are on a run of form, 3 wins in a row. They were trying to make it 4 today. We'll have to wait and see if that can happen still. But Solihull Moors, who did impress here during their 3-0 win against Guiseley, are winning. And the goals in that game have come from Omar Bogle, who of course scored at Guiseley for Solihull on the opening game of the season. Paul Walker with the goal for Bradford Park Avenue. North Ferriby are leading Altrincham 1-0, and it's Nathan Jarman, the former Chester midfielder, who has got the goal. And, well, I think someone's saying that this game could be between two of the sides aiming for the playoffs. Of course, North Ferriby, after such an impressive run, and of course Altrincham, well, they were top of the table last week. They're now in a position where, of course, they're going to get the goals with the likes of James Walshaw in the squad. Stalybridge 0, Stockport 0. Things seem to be simmering out for Stockport after such a dramatic and woeful start. They now seem to be getting a few points on the board, which is good news for the former League One side not that long ago. Vauxhall Motors 1, Oxford City 0, and Worcester 2, Workington 0, and more with both goals for Worcester. And when you look at them results, well, not results, but how they are right now at half-time, I do feel personally Guiseley won't be looking at them results, because for Guiseley, if they can gain 3 or 4 wins in a row, they will just shoot up the table. Looking at the table right now, as it would be at the start of play for the Lions, it's a case of Guiseley, well, not being in the ideal position, it has to be said. At the moment, 15th in the league. And I think if you look at the form guide, it's 3 losses and a draw in their last 4 games. But of course, for Guiseley, them performances during the last 2 games have been of such a positive note that Guiseley will surely be aiming to get right up the table. And if they won today and results do go their way, they can go into the top half of the table. And if you look at the likes of Telford being in mid-table, then Guiseley, well, there's hope for the Lions. Well, I will just tell you now, Guiseley are making their way back onto the pitch now. All 11 players are getting ready, and it does look like Mark Barrow's got his lads out nice and early, because Hednesford have not got their players out just yet, though just as I'm speaking, 1 or 2 are making their way onto the pitch right now. And for Guiseley then, does look like there's no substitutions. I will just say Craig Hobson and Jamil Iblay have been taking part in quite an intense training programme during half-time, so it'll be interesting to see whether one of them two can make an impact if they are given the chance after coming off the bench. Well, we have got the full set of 11 players for Guiseley. Still one or two players waiting for Hednesford Town, but it does look like Mark Barrow's got his lads out nice and early. He'll have surely said, just keep doing what you're doing, because somehow Guiseley are not leading. I will just say that now. Hitting the post and bar, some decent saves by Hednesford's keeper, Dan Crane. Really, Guiseley, just a bit of luck, and surely Guiseley will get the lead, and hopefully will take all 3 points away and not another disappointing result. Well, Colin Robertson is now ready. It's Nik Keefe, but first it is Colin Robertson.
Thanks, Tom. And we're suitably refreshed at half-time. And even if I can't pronounce the word refreshed, it does, we have just had coffee. And we are already up here for a second half, which we hope will bring that much awaited goal. Of course, we've had 3 games preceding this in which the Lions haven't been able to hit the back of the net. 3 straight defeats. Mark Bower will have wanted his side to have turned the corner and will probably be delighted with the first half performance, Nick, but frustrated that Guiseley haven't got off the mark just yet.
Yeah, I think ideally he'd want to see a goal come before he makes any changes to the team, because the way the 11 he's sent out here today played in the first half deserved to take the lead. So it would be nice to see them get what they deserve for the effort they've put in. I do think we'll see Paul Ennis at some point in the second half. I wouldn't also be surprised to see a change at the back. Ben Parker, I would be surprised to see him last all 90 minutes, having not played first team football for quite so long as he has. So changes will come, and the question is whether guys get the goal they deserve before that, or whether it's left to the subs to try and add a little bit extra further that brings the breakthrough.
Well, it's obviously not a first half performance that's acceptable from a Hednesford perspective, and the changes have been rung in at the break. Double substitution. Dave McPherson and Aaron Ray are leaving the field, and Alex Melbourne and Robbie Thompson-Brown are entering the field for the second half. And the referee has got us back underway. Hednesford playing in all red this afternoon, and Guiseley, of course, in their all yellow strip as part of Action for Children Day we're having here, and it's the strip that will adorn their logo. Hednesford come down the right-hand side immediately. We'll go through the teams again if you haven't heard them already shortly. But Guiseley just have a bit of defending to do here. And it's Melbourne, the substitute, who helps the ball forward. Looking to find Neil Harvey, who cut a fairly lone figure in the first half. And I think that, by my reckoning, there's been a few tactical changes to this Hednesford lineup, and they look like they're mirroring the 4-2-3 that Guiseley are now lining up with. They went with 2 strikers earlier on in this match. Stephen Drench has the ball at his feet, launches it forward, and Hednesford look to try and get the ball down this right-hand channel, helped on now by Thompson-Brown, and out for a throw-in. So just quickly down that lineup, the visitors: Dan Crane, John Disney, Darren Campion, Ban Bailey, Matt Regan, Jamie Osborne, Elliot Durrell, Neil Harvey, Chris Taylor, and now on from the bench, Alex Melbourne and Robbie Thompson-Blake. For Guiseley, referee's just seen something, having a word with the official for some reason. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. Guiseley, meanwhile, are lining up with Stephen Drench, Jack Rea, Reese Maynell, Ben Parker and Spencer Harris are the back 4. Referee and linesman. I think the linesman's struggling with a bit of an injury. I think that's the problem. The 2 central defensive midfielders are Jake Lawler and Michael Potts, and then a 3, which is Gavin Rothery in the middle of the field, and then flanked by Wayne Brooksby and Michael Burns, and then up front Alex Johnson, who did such a good job. And we have got the break, because the linesman at the moment, Ian Quinn over there, is obviously struggling and is currently receiving attention from Martin Stringfellow. So we're going to have a few extra minutes on the end of this game, I should think.
Yeah, we've done a good job of collecting oddities so far this season, haven't we, Colin? We had foul throws being taken almost from up in the stands when we were down at Gloucester. We've seen some of the weirdest nearly goals and not quite goals you could ever hope to see, and now we're collecting a linesman injury. I'm not sure, just looking down at the dugouts, at the people sat between the dugouts, whether they're Hednesford staff or whether there's a fourth official here today, because if there's not and the linesman can't continue, then we're stuck in one of these positions that we've seen once or twice over the years where they've got to cast around the ground and see who else is a qualified official.
Yeah, it's going to be the call for the fourth official. Call for anyone who may be a qualified referee, because it's quite clear there's an injury to Ian Quinn.
It looks like a calf strain or something like that he's picked up.
And so we have to wait to see if anyone goes. I think we may have a volunteer, because we had some applause. Maybe Tom Feeney can help us out with that one. But I'm just thinking back to the scenario that happened last season, where Gloucester City had a same situation, and on that day, the only qualified referee was the commentator for Tigers Radio, and he actually went down and took on the second half as the commentator on the first half, and then became the official in the second half.
Well, that's double duty. No, Tom Feeney just along the benches just said what we couldn't hear from where we were sat. There's a chap sat in the stand who said, "Oh, I'm a qualified referee. I bet I'm going to get called here." And then when the call went out across the tannoy, he was up out of his seat, which is why we had the cheer from the fans in the stand here. So I think there is someone who's going to take part. Of course, all the academy chaps are here as well, and I know some of the coaches and things to do with the academy setup have qualifications that will probably allow them to take part in this. But,
well, all credit to our chap here who's just run across. I'd love to know who he is. He's a gentleman in a checked shirt who's sprinted across there, and either they've already got one, or he's not needed, or he's making his way to the changing room. So we'll wait and see what happens. Hey, I tell you what, this is great fun, isn't it? Filling in the dead air where we've got about 10 minutes now.
Very dead air.
Before somebody
sat in a silent stand with nothing to talk about, suddenly feeling quite self-conscious. Yeah, it's a little bit weird, isn't it? It's a little bit weird. Whoever comes on to take that flag, I don't think will be as the injured linesman is clapped off the pitch as he goes to the tunnel there. I don't think whoever comes on will be able to do much of a worse job, I'm afraid, than the guy's done. We didn't get a chance to say it, but I thought Neil Harvey's offside there just at the beginning of the second half. I thought that was as tight as some of the ones he gave against Guiseley players in the first half.
Well, look, I mean, is a guy who's officiating, and all credit to him, he's probably struggled with that calf all afternoon.
Yeah.
And you think sometimes, obviously, footballers, when they struggle with their injuries, they get the marginal things wrong, and it must be very hard, especially if you're trying to play through it. He hasn't got the option of a fourth official just to replace him before kick-off, so you're probably likely to try and force your way through it. And he's obviously struggled and found he couldn't go on any further, and then probably just happening after the break, he stopped, and that's the problem. So, all credit to him for making the effort, to be fair.
Absolutely, and joking aside, you sometimes forget, you watch the pantomime of football that has its heroes and its villains and all of that, but we were sat in the clubhouse after the game on Tuesday night, a few of us, and the referee who'd had such a tough game, and we didn't think he'd got every decision right that he could have made, and he's walking through, still getting some stick from one or two people at 10:30 at night, and sort of saying, well, he was a teacher, actually, a school teacher as well, and he was sort of saying, well, I get this all day, every day. And then I come out to do my hobby, go and referee a football game, and then this is what I get. So you just start to feel for these guys a little bit. I'm sure they're nowhere near as if they're paid at all. I'm sure they're nowhere near as well paid as the players who come along and take part in semi-pro, non-league football. So no.
No, and it's a very, very difficult job, and of course we forget it in the pantomime of football, as you describe it. You do forget that, and all credit. I hope the the linesman today in coming. I hope his calf isn't too serious and he's up doing what he loves doing as soon as possible. In the meantime, all eyes will be on his able assistant, who rather begrudgingly has had to run round there. And it's fantastic that somebody's willing to come down from the stand to make sure that the game continues for all of us.
Oh, it's classic non-league football stuff, isn't it? It's what football at this level is all about. This is why, although we want to see our teams do well and everything, it's important not to take the whole thing too seriously, because it's just that this is so much more relaxed and human version of the game. And you wouldn't see in Premier League football someone hopping up out of the stands and offering to being accepted to run with the flag for the second half. So I think all credit to the administrators of football at this level that they've managed to keep a game that works like that.
Well, we had a number of things happened obviously midweek with new signings, but one of the things which we haven't actually discussed today, and which I think is been quite notable, has been the impressive start of Guiseley's academy team. 3 wins out of 3, and of course they won all the pre-season friendlies as well.
They did, and handsomely so.
And they've really started the season tremendously well.
Yeah, we wondered how they would pick up this season. Luke Robinson was the big goal scorer last year, and he was in two minds about maybe trying to break through into Guiseley's first team. In the end, he's gone to university further west, and so he's playing with Marine, I think, this season in their first team instead. And it left the academy without the man who'd got all the goals in its first season. But they are looking like they're going to storm that division. They've had 3 away games so far, and they've won all of them. Yet to keep a clean sheet, which gives you the impression there's some exciting football being played as well. And I know that the academy secretary, Colin Seal, has been looking to get 1 or 2 of these games moved to evening kickoffs, because they normally play with a 2 o'clock kickoff on a weekday, usually on a Wednesday, and I think the games against people like Farsley and Harrogate and maybe 1 or 2 others as well are going to be shifted to a 7 o'clock evening kickoff when they're at Nethermoor, so that we can get a few people in and see a bit of football, because everyone who's got a season ticket can come and see them as part of that. Anyway, that's included. Obviously, the main problem is most people aren't available on a Wednesday lunchtime for football, are they? So.
Yeah, fantastic, and that would be great. I came down last season. Obviously, working during the day means you can't see them. But last year, when they came to the FA Youth Cup game against Hallam, 5-3 thriller it was. An absolute brilliant game of football and great entertainment. As you probably gathered from the cheer, our substitute linesman is on the field and wonderfully is taking up his position, and will no doubt be underway. Just getting into his briefing from the referee. So hope he didn't have too many pies at half-time or a beer or anything, because he's going to be put through his paces, I'm sure, in the second 45 of this game.
No, I'm sure they're given strong advice that a qualified referee could be on duty at any time, so you should never eat stodgy food or drink alcohol of any kind in case a game is needing an official somewhere and the bat sign goes up.
So it looks like we're going to get back underway. And no doubt our intrepid replacement is going to have a tough second half period. Goodness knows what happens with the added time in this scenario. But we were about 2 minutes in to the second half by my reckoning, 2 or 3 minutes in, and now it's 10 minutes or 11 minutes gone. So we've lost about 9 minutes. Whether a referee just stopped play, so we'll just to be a bit curious about timekeeping. Finally, though, Guiseley get us back underway. And the ball is knocked out on the far side, where our substitute linesman makes his first indication of a throw-in, much to the pleasure of his colleagues in the crowd here, his friends in the crowd. Guiseley now have the ball. And Hednesford now have the ball inside the Guiseley half, make a charge into the penalty area. Good work here from Potts, but the ball falls kindly for Durrell. Durrell gets a shot away, has to be pushed past the upright, and now Guiseley have to defend a corner.
Yeah, and it's very important that the teams don't switch off, particularly the defenders of both teams I'm thinking of, don't switch off while they've had that break. It's not one of those where there's been a long injury and there's been a bit of a cloud over the pitch, but it is important for them to stay sharp.
Corner now to Hednesford, whipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. No one's got it clear. It's bundled off the line by Potts, only as far as Osborne, and his shot back in. Well, it clears the netting behind the railway end side of the ground and has gone into the woods beyond. So an indication how poor that final shot was, but that was a dangerous moment there, and Hednesford's best chance of the game so far.
It was, and that's exactly what I mean. Guys, they need to get their heads back into the game. They can't afford to let the break in play and a bit of good humour around the ground interrupt what has been a very focused and precise performance so far.
Stephen Drench starts again with a goal kick. Guys, they get the ball down here with Jake Lawler. Long ball forward here from Lawler, looking for Johnson. Johnson can't get ahead of it, ahead of Regan. Regan does well, and then it's well defended. Durrell collects now inside his own half, launches it forward, looking to get Harvey away. Harvey's got beyond Spencer Harris. Harris is now holding him up on the edge of the penalty area as he goes towards the touchline, but Harvey turns, gets the ball back, and it's a chance here that Chris Taylor tried to play it through his man and then went to ground rather cheaply. In the end, there's a free kick to Guiseley, and the danger's past.
My feeling there is with the striker going down and asking for the free kick. If the referee's not going to give the free kick there, should that not be a yellow card for simulation? Really, it wasn't a very convincing attempt to win a free kick, and I don't think there was a foul. But it would have been nice to just see the referee step in there and say, "Look, we're going to have none of that today."
No yellow cards, and we saw about 5 for less, didn't we, on Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Not that it's been a physical game at all.
No,
Guys,
not at all.
Guys, you have the ball down here on the left-hand side with Johnson. Johnson's beaten to it, up as far as Spencer Harris. Lions just not flowing like they were in the first half. The ball forward now finds Harvey. Harvey goes through on goal on the edge of the area. Chance to beat Stephen Drench. Goes around Drench. He's got 2 on the line, and it's in the back of the net. Harvey finishes. Just a speculative ball forward. Harvey goes through. Drench came out. Harvey went round him, and the ball finds its way into the back of the net. A good finish, it has to be said, from the Hednesford striker. And it's bad news once again for the Lions. It's Guiseley 0, Hednesford 1.
Well, you couldn't write it, but we did flag it up as a possibility after the restart. We haven't seen at any point in the game one of the Hednesford players able to run at a Guiseley defender one-on-one until in the last 5 minutes, and we've certainly not seen a player split the defence and get between the 2 centre-backs until that move, and it shows you only need to switch off for a moment, and all of that good work at the moment is undone. Guys are going to have to do a lot to get the 3 points that they've deserved on the balance of play.
Well, the first half was all Guiseley, but the second half so far, not that there's been much of it, even though we've had 15 minutes of time, has been Hednesford. And now they're coming forward once again. Guiseley just have to defend that. Nodded back to the goalkeeper by Maynell. The Lions need to get back into this, perhaps not press the panic button. And in the meanwhile, Hednesford, though, are having a good spell. They come forward now. The left-back Campion, the captain, takes a leading run forward, finds Harvey. Harvey sprays the ball out towards that right-hand side, and then Disney tries to collect from right back rather, and then he's beaten to it. Guiseley get the ball up the other end. Johnson chasing very little at the moment, whatever he can to close down, but he doesn't get there. And eventually it's launched away up towards Harvey. Harvey's offside. He feels aggrieved, but there isn't much point arguing, I think. It's our substitute official who's made the call. Spencer Harris plays the long ball down the right side. Aimless, though. And now there's a bit of discomfort in the crowd.
There is. I wonder how the players will deal with the new linesman over there, because they won't feel that they're justified in barracking him as they maybe would an official. They know this guy's just come from the stands and stepped in. I wonder if they'll maybe give him a little bit more respect. Maybe the sort of respect that you should give officials generally anyway.
A ball out here from Harvey. Plays it out nicely to Disney. Disney coming forward. The right back controls. Goes out to the touchline. Takes it away from Parker. Lays it back here to Chris Taylor. Taylor launches it wide to the opposite side of the field. Hednesford leading by 1-0 now. Harvey on our mark. The ball down here to Campion. A good ball into the area to Durrell. Hednesford beginning to get into their stride. Get the ball in towards the area. Blocked by Lawler. And out for a throw-in. It's Durrell this time. Takes it short into the feet of Campion. Campion tries to go past Brooksby. Brooksby holds him up. And then Campion gets the ball towards the edge of the area. Helped on here by Jamie Osborne. Osborne back to Taylor. Taylor out to the right-hand side. Now Guiseley really encamped in their own half. Mark Bauer might be thinking he'll have to change things around to counter the tactical changes made by his opposite number. Headed out now by Jack Rea. But still the pressure is on the Lions.
Yeah, it looks like Hednesford have come out and put an extra man in midfield, as you say, the only one out-and-out striker now, and guys are struggling to adapt to that. There's less space in midfield than there was for them when they were only up against 2 central midfielders in the first half.
The substitutes seem to be working for Hednesford. Melbourne sprays it wide towards Disney, who's by the corner flag. He takes it back, all the way back to Taylor, but still they're all camped in the Guiseley penalty area. And Osborne, rather ambitiously or optimistically, throws himself to the ground. No serious cry for a penalty, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Just having a look over the far side to see which of Guiseley's players are warming up with intent. Andy Holdsworth looks like he's been working properly down there. Jamil Eblay's doing some sprints at the moment. Everyone else sat on the bench. We expected to see Paul Ennis today, but at the moment he's sat in the dugout. Doesn't look like he's expecting the call anytime soon.
It's difficult actually with timing wise. We say about 65 minutes we are, but we're probably more like 55 because a long delay because the linesman was injured. Ball forward up to the halfway line. This time Johnson gets the free kick. Ben Bailey again barging in the back of him. Bailey looks a little bit aggrieved. Guiseley have the free kick, but they don't seem to have the players going forward and look to venture forward as much as we did in the opening period. Confidence has to return. Burns inside his own half. This time a long ball forward, looking for Johnson. Not the short interplay passing that we saw in the first 20 minutes.
No, struggling to find men in space now, and just need to get that movement going again and find the gaps as they were doing so well before the break.
Burns picks it up, but he's inside the Hednesford half, but Guiseley going backwards at the moment. Back here to Harris. Harris on the edge of the centre circle in his own half. Out to Jack Rea at right back. Guiseley, few options forward. Don't seem to be able to force their way into Hednesford territory. And Rea goes back to Harris. Harris looks to see what's ahead of him. And at the moment, Guiseley holding on to the ball, but they're in their own half, and it's not in the danger areas. Rea and Harris still 1-2, playing it comfortably and patiently. Out to Lawler, though. Lawler does well. It was a loose ball. Thompson Brown went to close him down, but Lawler helps it along. Now out to Burns. Burns goes down this left flank, looks to check the ball into the area. He does, but it's beyond everyone in the penalty area and out for a throw in Hednesford's left-back position.
That's encouraging build-up work from Guiseley. They weren't moving so fluidly as they were earlier on in the afternoon, but they didn't just lump it into a channel and look for scraps. They took the time to work it across midfield and try and make something happen.
Guiseley win the ball from the throw. It's headed by Rea across the centre of the field, but it's cut out, and it's Melbourne, one of those 2 substitutes who completes the clearance, who's looking to be one of the defensive midfielders, is making a difference in this half. Now, the other substitute, Thompson Brown, comes down the right-hand side now as Hednesford look to carve open Guiseley again. They get the ball into the area. Spencer Harris has to be alive to the danger. A left boot knocks it out into touch, but it's going to be another throw to Hednesford in a dangerous area. And
the risk is that as Guiseley get men forward, they could get picked off for the second. Ben Parker was well up the pitch there and sprinting back to get into position, but while he was doing it, Guiseley were left really with just the 2 centre-backs.
It's Osborne, the long throw specialist, who's got this on the edge of about level with the edge of the area. Launches it forward into the penalty area where Jake Lawler clears. And Hednesford just slowing things down. They have that goal. The goal came on the hour mark. Neil Harvey, he just ran through the centre half pairing, and then rounded Stephen Drench, and his finish still managed to evade the 2 defenders on the line and forced its way over the goal line. And all the action's been at that goal, really, because in the first half it was Guiseley who peppered the the goal, but it lived a charmed life in the first half, much less so in the second. Spencer Harris tries to play the ball down the right-hand side, where Jack Greer is making a marauding run down that right-hand side, but it's beaten to it by Regan. It was an ambitious run, though, from Ria. Showed real intent. And then it's forced forward, and then Harris blasts that into the stand, as you could probably just hear.
I think that woke up one or two of the seniors in front.
Woke you up as well, Nick. Now a long one forward here, looking for Harvey, as Hednesford launch a long ball with a long throw down the left-hand side. Guiseley clear the lines, up to the halfway line. Brooksby, square now to Rothery, square to Potts. Potts helps it on to Burns. Burns changes the angle to the left-hand side, where Ben Parker just coolly plays it backwards this time to Maynell. Guiseley just doing what they did before, just holding on to possession in midfield. Not particularly hurried, patient build-up, but enjoying the possession while they have the ball. Burns on the halfway line, just playing 1-2s here with Rothery. Then helps it forward now to Johnson. Johnson tries to turn, can't get a run away. Has 3 players around him, does well, helps it back to Jake Lawler. Lawler forward now to Brooksby. Brooksby's touch is woeful and concedes possession after good work from Guiseley. And then Guiseley have to, Lawler has to make the interception and concede the throw.
I think Andy Holdsworth will be the first Guiseley substitute to be introduced. He looks like he's getting himself ready down there. I wonder if it might be that Ben Parker won't last the 90. Maybe Reece Maynell would go back to left and Jake Lawler could slot back into defence with Andy Holdsworth coming on in midfield. But either way, it's going to take a little bit of shuffling to get Holdsworth into the centre of midfield.
Long one forward now. Harvey takes it down. He's under pressure from Lawler and Harris. Still earns his side a throw. Like we say, we look to the bench, but as yet, no indication of an imminent substitution. Guiseley have to defend a throw now. Deep inside their territory. It's short to Durrell. Durrell lays it back towards Campion, but it's beyond him. We've had 69 minutes here. Guiseley trailing by a goal to nil. Loads of stoppage time to be added on today.
It will be tonight.
Yeah, well, it could well be. Hednesford, though, are now much more the threat than they were in the first half, and Guiseley are trailing. Gavin Rothery inside his own half, skips past one, gets tackled. There's a really good challenge on Campion, but once again, Hednesford retain the ball. Now Brooksby, good tackle, gets it, tries to win the possession, but Hednesford intercept well. Chris Taylor stepping across, and now a long one forward, looking for Harvey, collected by Stephen Drench, and Drench helps it out here to Jack Greer. Jack Greer holds it in play just. He's got only Johnson ahead of him. Looks to the run of Johnson, it's a good one. Goes down towards the touchline. Johnson tries to beat his man, goes to ground unfortunately, lost his balance. No foul. Johnson does really well to keep it going under pressure from 4 defenders. In the end, can't get the ball out of his feet and away for an opportunity. It's hoisted back into the Guiseley half and helped on back to Stephen Drench.
Alex Johnson is such a hard worker, isn't he? He's actually causing more problems for opposition defences than when we were playing with 2 out-and-out strikers earlier in the season.
Well, we are going to see the change. Andy Holdsworth is going to come on. He is fully kitted out now. It's going to be imminent. In the meanwhile, Guiseley play on and Hednesford have possession. It's back here with Dan Crane. No indication as to who it's going to be that's changed. There's plenty of options, I suppose.
Well, Wayne Brooksby might be one whose time might be up. If he was to come off, I'd like to see Paul Ennis come on because he's a bright winger who's raring to get out of the blocks.
Harris has the ball. The centre half comes up to the halfway line, looking for options, plays it out wide towards Johnson. Not the real touch that Hiller wanted, and Johnson no chance of getting on top of that, and there will be the change. And in fact, it's going to be Michael Potts who's coming off. Now, whether Potts has got a problem, I thought he's done all right this afternoon. But Andy Holdsworth comes on. And with 71 minutes, it's the return of Andy Holdsworth. I'm sure we all speak as one to wish him all the best. And hope to see him back to his best on the field here. Just has a little touch, shake of the hand with one of his opposite number. Guiseley resume. Well, actually, it's Hednesford who have the ball. A throw-in that's cleared, hoofed away into Guiseley territory, and Stephen Drench tries one of those cross-field balls that somehow Michael Burns keeps in. And Andy Holdsworth gets his first touch, tries to start to organise things. No change of captain. Rhys Maynell still the captain's armband, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Quick throw now here, tries to set Johnson away. Groan around the crowd because Johnson was just on the end of a Gavin Rothery lob that might have set him through on goal. I think, if I'm right, Nick, though, I don't think of any real incident in that half of note in the second period.
No, Dan Crane's had a very easy time so far since the half-time break. He's been reduced to goal kicks and free kicks and mopping up. He's not been called into action, whereas he was beaten a couple of times in the first half, and only the woodwork saved him.
It's a bit of a turnaround this second period. Parker, all credit to Hednesford, they've made the tactical changes and it's worked.
Yeah, that's right. They've come out with more midfielders and stifled the game.
Now Johnson, under pressure from Ben Bailey. I'm surely Ben Bailey's going to go in the book now. He's pulling Johnson back. I think Bailey had him for pace down that left-hand side, Johnson. And Bailey's feeling he's been tugged, and the referee saying, no, you're tugging him. But surely this time there's been enough incidences now for him to go in the book.
You would have thought so. It looks like it's, just can't quite see, but it looks from the player's reaction that he knows he's going into the book here. And it's always frustrating to see the game broken up when you want to see players running, or even as a neutral, it doesn't matter which team, you want to see players running with the ball and crisp passing moves. And it is always a bit frustrating to see slightly cynical sort of defending. Defending you'd always want your own defenders to do,
yeah.
But it's always disappointing to see the game slowed down when a move is in full flow.
Well, I think he probably took one for the team there, Bailey. He pulled him back, like he said, broke up an opportunity for Johnson to break that defence down. Now it's Wayne Brooksby with a free kick about midway into the Hednesford half. Ball goes forward, headed away this time. Bailey does his duty once again, this time with his head. Helps it out, and it's helped all the way up to the halfway line, where Ben Parker collects. He changes the angle to his fellow fullback, Jack Rea, who comes over the halfway line. Now Guiseley have a few options ahead. Long ball forward from Holdsworth, finds Johnson, a really good ball that. Johnson with his back to goal though, he's got two defenders on him. He's been identified as the threat, and rightly so. He's cut out now. Gavin Rothery gets one, the return ball, and then Brooksby intercepts well. Rothery again under pressure. Brooksby and Rothery combine well. Ball back here to Jack Rea. Jake Lawler under pressure, Guiseley, but doing really well to control the ball in towards the edge of the area. Rothery's got two players around him, can't get it away from his feet, and in the end it bounces kindly for Hednesford, and they can complete the clearance into the Guiseley half. Maynell tries to clear, closed down well by Neil Harvey, and it's out for a throw.
Immediate change when Andy Holdsworth comes on is, as you say, giving out instructions and organising and coming to players a little bit more and sort of indicating where he wants them to move next or where he wants to put the ball for them to run onto. So it steadied the ship. It certainly haven't seen any more pressure from Hednesford for a little while since he's come into the game, but nothing much for Guiseley going forward either.
Guiseley get the ball in the halfway line. Launched forward here. Michael Burns has just got free. Some distance from goal. He's only got Johnson ahead of him. He's out by the left touchline. Shadowed by Disney. Laid back now here to Rothery. Rothery goes away from goal and then tries to feed it into Brooksby. Cut out well by Osborne. Stepped across. And once again, the attacking momentum's lost. It's all the way back in Guiseley half. Spence Harris to throw it back in from the left-back position to the goalkeeper. Stephen Drench, with the ball at his feet, now has more yellow shirts to aim for in the Hednesford half, and Guiseley seem to have moved up the field in terms of the positions they're taking up.
Yeah, they're much less deep than they were about 10 minutes ago.
Now Spencer Harris is under a tremendous battle here with Harvey as the ball's returned into the Guiseley half. Harris does well, can't find Jack Rea, but cheaply conceded, and it just goes to show how a speculative ball forward can almost cause problems.
That's right. Hednesford have got the advantage of knowing Guiseley are going to be pushing players forward at every opportunity, and so a bit of pace on the break could open up a second goal-scoring opportunity.
Now a throw-in to Hednesford inside the Guiseley half, played by Campion. picked up now as Hednesford press once again by Melbourne. He helps it out to the left-hand side. Good ball towards Harvey. Harvey's onside, goes down to the touchline. He's got options in the box. It rolls across the penalty area on the penalty spot. Falls to the substitute, takes a shot. Robbie Thompson-Blake it was. Took the right-footed shot, but he couldn't get over the ball and it's flown over the bar.
I confess to not really knowing what Paul Ennis looks like, but seeing as the player who's coming on is nowhere near as tall as Jamil Eblay or Craig Hobson, and not a goalkeeper, so it can't be John Worsnap either. This must be Paul Ennis coming on to make his much awaited, if him, by,
well, I know.
if no one else.
His international clearance finally came through.
Extraordinary. He was playing in this division already. Why the Welsh FA need to wait 4 weeks or however long it was to give him clearance, I do not know.
Well, who knows what the reasons was. No matter, he gets his chance. And it's, as you said, Wayne Brooksby who's gone off. Nik, and Paul Ennis makes his debut in Guiseley colours.
And lining up on the right of the three behind Alex Johnson so far.
Long one forward here, looking for Harvey. It's gone way over him and out for a goal kick. Yeah, sorry, Nik, like you say, lining up on the right-hand side.
My understanding was he was a left-sided winger. Obviously, Michael Burns is as well. So the other way you could see it arranging would be for Burns to go directly behind the striker where Gavin Rothery is at the moment, bring Rothery over to the right and Ennis to the left. But obviously, that'll take a bit of coordinating.
Harris brings the ball up to the halfway line. Holdsworth, Harris and Jack Rea just holding on to the ball inside their own half. Long one up towards Johnson. Cut out and helped back into Guiseley territory. Header back from Spencer Harris. Good one in the end. Bit of heart and mouth moment there because Harvey was lurking.
Yeah, but Spencer Harris has been a real plus actually of these two games. He's looked really assured on his debut, coming in an awkward situation with injuries so close to kick-off in the week, and then starting again today, playing alongside a left-back who's filling in the centre of defence in Rhys Maynell. But he's looked like he really knows what he's doing.
So we have the ball back at the hands of Dan Crane. We're entering into the final 10 minutes of normal time. Plenty of added time tonight because of the injury. But now Durrell's just robbed. Jack Rea goes into the area, takes a shot, beats Stephen Drencher, is near post, and from nothing movement forward, Jack Rea on his haunches. Knows he's been beaten by Elliot Durrell, and Guiseley now find themselves 2 goals behind.
Well, you can't legislate for that. I mean, Jack Rea holding his head to the heavens there, jumped for the ball that came through, which sailed way over his head, and caused him to be facing his own goal, running back towards his own goal, trying to rescue the position, and his challenge was off the mark, and it just led to a one-on-one against Drench in the box, and he's beaten Drench at his near post.
Well, you have to say, Hednesford have played better in the second half, but on the balance of play, still not merited to be 2 ahead, I would say, and never mind 2 goals up.
No, and immediately Craig Hobson's been sent out to start his warm-up, so maybe might see a change in formation, maybe 2 strikers up top, or just doing something to try and change the way this game has gone.
Johnson's possibly tired, I think. Long one forward now. The charging run of Ennis, not going to get on the end of that. And it's, I don't know what we're going to do here, Nik. I'm going to have to change my lucky pants, I think, on a Saturday morning. Because, frankly, nothing's gone Guiseley's way again.
If you've been knowingly not wearing your lucky pants, then that's definitely something you should change as a matter of urgency. But you can't explain why Guiseley are 2-0 down here. Can't explain why Guiseley haven't got on the score sheet either today or on Tuesday night, because they've played so very well, so very promisingly, and they just haven't managed to get it to stick so far.
Hednesford have the ball again in Guiseley half. It's Durrell who turns Rothery for a moment, but Rothery gets the touch. He'll be delighted that they're coming away with the 3 points at the moment, Hednesford. Ball in here to Harvey. Harvey goes to the touchline. Guiseley now have to defend once again. Harvey lays it back. It's looking for Chris Taylor, the midfielder. Gets it on the edge of the area, back into the area. A bit of an awkward clearance from Harris. Nothing like a claim for a back pass from anyone. And Stephen Drench collects and then tries to immediately start the counter-attack. And helped back by Parker. Parker looks like he's going to last out the 90 minutes, or have to.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to get a choice, does it? I very much doubt Craig Hobson will be coming on for him.
But guys, he can't get out of their own half. It's the substitute Thompson Brown who goes down the right-hand side. Bundled over by Maynell, out for a throw.
Although having said that, if Hobson were to come on for him, and you'd then see Lawler go back into the centre, Maynell out to the left-back position, and make space for 2 strikers and just ditch one of the midfielders for the final part of the game. I still don't think that's very likely, but you could make it work.
Oh, ball now here with Osborne. Osborne into Thompson Brown. Guysey just being held in their own half, trying desperately to get possession back, but Hednesford are doing a good job of just holding the ball up and keeping possession now. Forward they go once again, this time Campion. Out wide here to Durrell. Into the area, up to the back post, and Thompson Brown was lurking there. It just went away from him, and it's gone out to touch, and there'll be another Guiseley substitute. And it's, well, we're just waiting for it. It's definitely Craig Hobson's coming on, but who is going off? Well, it would appear Jake Lawler. And Alex Johnson was running across there. I think he was expecting to go off.
Almost hoping. I mean, we said in midweek he's not been playing first-team football, and he's a real workaholic out there, ploughing the lone furrow as the only striker. He's run himself into the ground. He does look tired, but Mike Power obviously feels the need to have 2 strikers up there, causing problems for the defence, trying to make something happen in the last part of the game.
Tactical change. We'll look, see how that applies. But Guiseley at the moment need something to change because they're trailing by 2-0. Beaten in a second-half performance as it stands. And now Gavin Rothery's just brought down Osborne, about 25 yards from goal. And Osborne will be frustrated because he'd got the better of Rothery there. Referee doesn't opt to talk to the linesman.
Now, Elliot Durrell here placing the ball. He's got eyes on that top corner of the goal, you would imagine, as Stephen Drench is lining up his near post wall.
Yeah. 25 yards from goal, isn't it? It's dangerous. The wall is about it's 4 men, and it's on the exact edge of the 18-yard box. Durrell lines up, takes a shot, a rasping drive. Drench bumbles it. The second one, the follow-up from Harvey, goes wide. Unlike Drench, it was a firm drive there from Durrell, but goalkeeper couldn't hold on to it. Harvey just comes in and blasts it wide of the mark.
Well, I think it was an awkward height for Steve Drench. He would have been expecting the player to go for the top corner, as we were saying there, and it's come through just sort of about waist height at full stretch, and he's ended up parrying it out into the box rather than round the corner and behind for a set piece.
Well, it's not an afternoon where things are going Guiseley's way once again. It looks like the flow of this game is going Hednesford's way completely now, the second half. Guiseley try to get the ball into the Pitman's half, but at the end, they're forced back into their own territory. They still have the ball, though. Rhys Maynell, left-footed lob forward, looking for Hobson. Hobson's got 2 men around him, can't win that one. Holdsworth wins a second. Rothery helps it out wide here to Jack Rhea. Rhea will be hoping to make a mark to atone for his error in the second goal. Rothery and Rhea combine nicely. Rhea gets the ball into the area. No one there. And Hobson tries to win it, but is adjudged to have fouled his man in doing so. And has also kicked some of that turf out of the ground. And it's a free kick to Hednesford.
I'd have to say it's a pretty successful day's work for Hednesford so far. We said at half-time that they would be delighted to have weathered that storm and somehow got in at the break without having conceded at all. It should have probably been 2 or 3. And having withstood that pressure by hook or by crook, they've taken their opportunities in the second half, and a bit of a smash and grab operation, but it's exactly what you'd hope to do as an away team, coming to a ground where you expect to come up against a side that plays passing football.
Well, Guiseley now have the ball down the right-hand side. Rothery goes past one of the substitutes and comes down this right-hand side where he's beaten Melbourne, it was, who was hassling him so well. In the end, it's just a throw-in. And it's a chance for Jack Rhea to get the ball into the area. He has to go back, though. Holdsworth back here to Maynell on the halfway line. Everybody in that Hednesford half for the moment. Plays it out to the left-hand side where Parker, not been as involved in the second period as he was in an attacking sense. Lays it square now to Ennis. Ennis with some distance from goal. Takes a 1-2 with Hobson. Takes it on the edge of the area. Inside the penalty area. Lofts the ball to the back post. Hobson's there. He can't get on the connection. Johnson helps it back here to Burns. Burns back into the area over Hobson. Lofted clear. Not cleared well at all by Hednesford. Only as far as Ben Parker on the edge of the area. He's closed down quickly though by Thompson Brown. And it's helped up to the halfway line where Harvey has to be causing havoc once again. Maynell helps the ball out into touch for a throw-in.
And what Guiseley do have now that Craig Hobson's been introduced is a bit more height in the box. So when they move the ball in there, they've got a little bit more chance of winning one of these high balls.
So as we enter the final throws of the 90, I think that's 11 minutes.
That's right, that's what it says.
That have been added by my reckoning. So we've got some time yet to play. So we have to defend once again. 11 minutes, yes, there we go. I have to say, Martin Stringfellow's skills with the board there weren't exemplary there. It was a bit of a waft around.
No, I would have thought if you're going to be signalling 11 minutes of added time, you probably want to make it absolutely clear, because most people aren't going to believe that when they see it. I think that's about the right amount, because you said at the time definitely. It was a 9-minute stoppage, and then there's been a few substitutions since.
Guys, they have a goal kick, an attacking movement that fizzles out down that left-hand side. 469 just been announced as the attendance today. Reasonable amount here, but just not seeing the result or the scoreline that some parts of this performance, well, the overall performance probably is merited more than to be 2-0 down, for absolute certain. Guys, have a free kick though. Inside the Hednesford half. Andy Holdsworth steps over it. It's about 5 yards in from the edge of the centre circle. Fairly central. Guys here lining the yellow shirts up on the edge of the 18-yard box. Whipped into the ball. A flick on there by Ennis. Goes past the post. Hobson and Maynell it was who tried to follow up. In the end, it's gone behind for a goal kick. And another chance goes begging. And there's going to be another substitute. Must admit, I'll have to confess, I was rather hoping this wouldn't be the substitute. Nargo and Mark is the way it's been announced. Nargo and Mark, and he's replacing the number 9, which is Neil Harvey. And Neil Harvey, he looked like a passenger in the first half, but he's shown his value, hasn't he, for Hednesford in that second half?
Yeah, such a dangerous, with the ball at his feet in the second half, running against the Guiseley defenders. They never got a chance to run at the defence in the first half. They were, Spencer Harris and Rhys Maynell were very well shielded by the midfield, but as the game stretched out a little bit in the second, with Hednesford's changing tactics as well, he looked a lot more dangerous when he was just up there by himself.
Goal kick taken by Crane as we hit the 90-minute mark. Still plenty of football left to be played. Because of an injury to linesman Ian Quinn, we had a 9-minute delay, and we've had 11 minutes of added time. So we'll have 11 minutes of added time here as Guiseley continue to see if they can get a foothold back in this game. Up here towards Johnson. Johnson controls, lays it back here to Harris. Rothery. Square then to Holdsworth again. And then tackled. Well tackled by Regan. And the ball delivered all the way back to Stephen Drench. Long one forward, looking for Johnson. Johnson having a real battle there with Regan. Regan wins that one. The nod on from Holdsworth. Can't find his man, but Rhea picks up the loose second ball. Into Rothery. Rothery, some distance from goal, plays it square to Burns. Burns lofts it into the area, looking for Hobson. Hobson gets the head onto it. Down here for Rothery. Rothery can't control and get it onto his feet. And eventually it's cleared. And now Charlie Anago and Mark is coming down the right-hand channel for the visitors. Gets the ball into the area. Looks for Durrell. But Stephen Drench claims that one comfortably and almost immediately launches it down the other end of the pitch. Picked up now by, well, Hobson should have won it, but didn't. And it's laid back all the way to the goalkeeper. Hobson chasing it down, showing all the energy you'd expect of the substitute. And then well played there by Ben Parker to prevent it going out into touch. Guiseley keep trying to turn this ball over in midfield.
Yeah, it's a smart substitution to make with a tiring defence who are left by themselves, pushing forward, trying to get a goal to get back into the game. To bring on a fast, fresh pair of legs, kind of striker who's going to hurry and harry the defenders, adds a fresh sense of panic in the defence for Guiseley.
Goalkeeper Dan Crane collects the ball. Guiseley played a long ball forward there from Spencer Harris, but unfortunately Hobson couldn't get on the end of it. What do you make of this formation that we're entering into? It looks as if we've gone with one holding midfielder, Alex Johnson. I'm not quite sure, basically, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not either. I think Gavin Rothery looks like he's coming just a little bit deeper, but the truth is I think they're expecting Andy Holdsworth to mop up and anchor the whole midfield by himself, and then everybody else is just going to get forward into a good position to try and...
Burns plays the ball into the area, looking for Hobson, can't get there ahead of the defender, but surely, oh well, maybe it looked like that from where we were. Hobson's touch has knocked it out and it's gone behind for a goal kick. The linesman's indicating something on this near side. I don't know whether he's indicating something that it should be a corner, but he's called the referee across. And I don't know if he's seen something off the ball. What do you make of that?
No, I've no idea what's caused the stoppage at all, to be honest. But the referee's going to call someone over now after a word from the linesman.
I don't know quite who's being called across. The linesman's seen something, and I don't know if it's Gavin Rothery. And the referee's got his book out. And he's having a word with Gavin Rothery, and Rothery's holding his hands up to say what? And the referee... Is that a red card? And he's shown Gavin Rothery the red card. And I'm absolutely perplexed. I have absolutely no idea. I can't even begin to tell you what that was for. I have absolutely no idea. There was no complaint from the players on the pitch. And as if just to compound things, 3 minutes into stoppage time, Gavin Rothery has gone off the field. He doesn't understand what has happened there. I don't understand what's happened there. And even on this near side, Durrell here is sort of saying, was that necessary? to the linesman. And Guiseley are down to 10.
We stepped into some sort of alternate universe. This is some of the most bizarre stuff I can remember seeing at a Guiseley game.
Well, I think that pretty much cements the victory for Hednesford. I think Guiseley can't possibly come back from 2 down as it is. Hednesford now coming forward. Durrell into the area. He's got the option to get the third and finish this game once and for all. It falls nicely for Taylor. Taylor's shot was spilled by Drench, but he claimed it from the onrushing attacker and lays it out wide here to Jack Greer. Guiseley shell-shocked from losing Gavin Rothery to a straight red card for an incident which we have no idea what it was. Jack Greer has got the ball now and lays it forward and then across to the left-hand side. And he can't keep it in play. In the end, it's gone out for a throw-in on the far side. And it's...
arguments amongst the fans in the stands and all sorts. I'm not really sure what's going on here.
Now it's a throw-in to... I'm sorry, we're just a bit disrupted here for a moment. It's a throw-in to Hednesford. 90 minutes plus 5. We've got 101 we're due to get minutes in total because we had a long stoppage. But this game pretty much, I'm afraid, is probably over as a contest because guys have been reduced to 10 men once again. But the ball's back in here. Hobson gets a shot away at goal. Hurts upright. The follow-up comes in. And eventually Michael Burns helps it over the line. Gets the ball back. Tries to reclaim it. And from nothing there. Great work there. Craig Hobson gets on the ball. Takes a left-footed shot. Cannons back off the upright. A save from Michael Burns' follow-up. And then eventually it falls to him. And Guiseley have a foothold back in this game. The 10 men have brought it back and ended the goal drought. It's Guiseley 1, Hednesford 2.
And wouldn't you know, the first goal of the Mark Bauer era coming from Michael Burns, the second or third time returnee to Guiseley. I'm just stopping there because there's a foul straight away apparently from the kick-off there.
Hobson just goes in for a bit of a late challenge on Jamie Osborne. Osborne goes down. Didn't look too much in it, to be honest, but free kick's about right.
No, we do know that when Craig Hobson tackles somebody, he does. People do seem to feel it when he challenges, though, don't they? So it didn't look like a big one, but we know he's a long-limbed, kind of strong lad, and if he catches you, you know about it.
Hednesford have the free kick, launched forward towards Durrell. Can Guiseley get something out of this? They've brought it back to 2-1, but they've only got 10 men. Hednesford now go looking for that third. They know they need to finish this game off now. Durrell down the left-hand flank takes a wicked deflection off him, and Guiseley have the fortune to get the throw. Rhea now with the throw, and is deep inside his own territory in right-back position. Hobson wins the ball. Big shout from Chris Taylor. It's not appreciated by the crowd for a free kick for his challenge from Hobson. Good work here from the substitute, Inago Mark, who gets the ball across the 18-yard box, and it's laid out wide here as Hednesford just do the right thing, really, to be fair from their perspective, and hold on to the ball, take the sting out of the game. A long one forward here, looking for Thompson Brown rather, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. Guiseley, by my reckoning, have another 4 minutes or so.
But despite that, Dan Crane, the Hednesford keeper, has just come over to the linesman who gave the Gavin Rothery decision on this side of the pitch, and he's yelling at the linesman, tapping his wrist, indicating that he thinks time is up. And I think, as you say, there's several minutes left yet. It's all gone a bit strange as games of two halves go. This second half has been as different in every way as it could possibly have been to what came before.
Drench with a goal kick, flicked on by Johnson, helped on towards Ennis. Can Guiseley get one of these late equalisers from Ennis? Burns tries to get the ball. He's beaten to it. Really well played by Thompson Brown. And then the free kick is going to be pulled back. To be fair, I can't argue with that decision. Burns had a late tackle on Thompson Brown.
Yeah, that's right. It's the right decision, but it's so frustrating for Guiseley to give away a foul in that position, because it means Hednesford can stop.
I'm not sure the foul itself merited a yellow card.
Is that what's happening here?
But yeah, Michael Burns has got a yellow card.
I don't understand that either, I'm afraid. There's been far worse challenges.
2 minutes left. Guiseley pulled it back to 2-1. It's perhaps a little bit too late in the day. They're down to 10 men. 2 goals in the second half. Elliot Durrell and Neil Harvey have gave Hednesford a 2-goal cushion, cut back by Michael Burns. Deep into stoppage time. We had a lot of stoppage time because of an injury to a referee in the second, to the linesman in the second half, while we sought a replacement from the crowd. And Gavin Rothery's been sent off for a red card, which we have absolutely no idea what it's for. Hopefully we'll get some clarification after the game. A long one from Branch. Headed forward. Finds Johnson. Johnson in the area. Turns the goalkeeper. Oh, it's blocked. The shot is blocked in the 6-yard box, and Guiseley almost carve out a point. Stephen Drench is now going forward for this corner. Everything Guiseley have thrown at this goal seems to have been repelled from somehow, but now Guiseley are going for all out for this as we enter the last minute of the stoppage time that we expect. The corner comes in, whipped in towards the back post. Up goes Hobson. The goalkeeper gets a punch onto it. Can Rhea hold on to it? And then the referee calls it early. He calls, there was 11 minutes. And the referee has called it seconds early. I don't believe this.
That's extraordinary. He's stopped the game, by our clock anyway, which is an iOS 7 clock. It's probably quite accurate. He's called it almost a full minute earlier of the time that he indicated a minimum of 11 minutes.
At least 11 minutes. At least 11 minutes is what went up on the board. And we haven't even had the 11 minutes yet.
No.
Unbelievable.
No, we'll let you know. 11 minutes is coming up soon. That was our minimum added time. Will be coming up soon. But by the time we get to it, just in about another that's 11 added minutes, and the players, the coaches, the substitutes are all shaking hands on the pitch. The game's already.
I don't mean to split hairs, but as we went into the final moments there,
with 10 Guiseley players in the box and the ball at a Guiseley player's feet, why he's felt the need to stop the game early there, I don't understand at all.
Well, Guiseley, again, can feel very hard done by. And what we must do is remember that there was a fantastic first half performance absolutely superb attacking play and passing play from the Lions. But in the second half, it was Elliot Durrell who broke the deadlock. Hednesford had rejigged the things in the second period and did really well, actually, in fairness, to get themselves a foothold back in the game. When Durrell went through, round the goalkeeper, blasted the ball in the back of the net, Harvey rather, that seemed to set things on their way. Durrell added a second in 79. Gavin Rothery then saw red for a decision which is a mystery at the moment. There may be good reason for it. As it stands, nobody has any idea, I think, off-field at the moment. And it certainly looked like nobody on the field was expecting it. And then Guiseley getting another spirited performance in there. Michael Burns getting a goal, 90 minutes plus 6 into stoppage time before almost the perfect end when Alex Johnson rounded the goalkeeper, but it had it saved off the line. And then with everyone in the area, Jack Rear about to put the ball back in the area, the referee called time early. And it's once again mystifying how Guiseley have been beaten, but they have. It's finished Guiseley 1, Hednesford 2.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to know what to make of this after the game today, Colin. I think we've got to preach patience. Guys, they've done an awful lot right. They looked very dangerous. The players who've come in have looked very promising, and we don't want to prejudge the referee's decision on the Gavin Rothery red card, but you're absolutely right to say Elliot Durrell, the Hednesford number 8, was coming over to the linesman and sort of asking, was that whatever you gave, was that really necessary? He clearly didn't agree with the red card that was given to an opposition player. He had no reason to stick up for Gavin Rothery, but we'll wait and hear what the referee and his linesman have to say about that. They'll presumably have to tell Mark Bauer or our club officials here why they gave what they did. Hednesford fans here leaving in good voice, and you can understand why. They've done put a textbook away performance here. They've come to a team that plays good football. They've withheld the storm for 45 minutes. They took the chances that they got after tweaking the tactics, and in the end, take away 3 points that keep them at the top of the Conference North table.
Yeah, you have to hand it to Hednesford. They've earned themselves 3 very hard-earned points this afternoon, but it's once again disappointment for the Lions, but not reflected entirely on what happened on the pitch. But with that, we're going to go and see if we can get a chat with Mark Bauer now. We'll hand you back and hopefully see you next time.